Welcome everyone to another episode of Lancescurv. I want to get a little sound check here. Had a little sound issue earlier on, which brought me a lot of echoing. I wanted to do something different tonight, but if the sound persists, then I might not be able to do it, but I can still bring you some good commentary. There's a lot to talk about. Just let me know how the sound is coming through on my end. If it's an echo, if you can hear me, let me know what it is. If you can't hear me, of course, you're not going to be able to answer. A little thin, huh? Okay, I'm going through my wireless mic. I thought it might sound clearer, but what I'll do, I can take that out and maybe just directly through the phone because, of course, there's going to be obstacles right before you go live. So if it's a little thin, okay, it is going through a wireless mic into my phone, and I wanted to do that just in case there's any power outages. But it's all about Joe Biden tonight, Kamala Harris, and I'm going to put the link early for others who want to come in. But there's a couple of videos that I want to play, and I wanted to actually share Joe Biden's speech tonight, but it may bring some echoing. I don't know, but we're going to still try. He's supposed to come on really around this time, but you know how sometimes they never really bring them in right away. So I'm going to click around and see. I had a link that was open, but it was echoing really, really bad. So if the echo, I hear you, Gifty, sitting there about the sound thin. Okay, what's the other option for the sound? Well, you know, I had to get that card for my module that I didn't get. Once I get that back, and I went down into town earlier and I didn't get it, I flew back home. And so I would have to do a workaround, which I tried with something else. It didn't work the way I wanted to. And the time was moving on. The time flew from when we said we were going to do this show. At first, this was going to be something before the speech, but then the time crept up on us. And I said, okay, we were going to watch the speech together. So I'm going to check and see if it's still on. We're still going to check. Okay, is he on now? Let me see. Is he on now? Let me see. No, I don't think he's on yet because they're not going to have him come in at the exact minute. But I'm going to keep checking and see. Okay. All right, let's see if it's live now. This link here, they may have preliminary speakers on before. Yeah. If it comes on good and there's no echo, I'm going to share the screen so we can watch it together. That's what I'm going to do. It's buffering right now. I'm quite sure there's a whole lot of people that are looking to watch this. But of course, yeah, as long as it's good enough, Gifty, you know, I don't want to do any experiments. I know through the phone it may not come through as clear, but I know that this is a little clearer, but it will. When you go wireless, it kind of removes some of the bass, the depth of the voice. And that's the processor through the air, which I'm right here next to the phone. So this thing is buffering like crazy. I got the full screen on. It's buffering. It's a still shot of him, so he's not on yet. But it is buffering. Now, we don't want that to happen. Let me see if I could refresh this. Because you know it's a whole lot of people that are going to be on there. And a whole lot of other shows also. So let's see. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay, there's a link. Let's try it again. Please open up. Okay, let's open it up. Okay, let's open up the screen. Now, I have my sound down over here on this particular computer, but you should be able to hear it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share the screen, and you let me know if you can hear it or not. Okay, I have a whole lot of screens open too. Let me see. Share camera video file, share screen. Yikes. It's a whole lot. Okay, we're going to share this.
A proud nation, so stop.
Just give me a second. I'm going to have to remove this banner.
Damage. We'll keep NATO
we have the screen here. Let's open it up.
Make it more powerful and more united.
Let's make it bigger
than any time in all of our history.
Now, I have to depend on you to let me know if you can hear this or not. There's a
We're
certain
also working
setting on
around the
my
clock to
computer
calm America
that
being unjustly detained
I need to
all
have.
around the world.
But check this chat room too.
You know, we've
Brother
come so
Bose.
far since my
Okay, you can hear this
inauguration.
now, right? Gifty?
On that day, I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter
Let me know.
peril and a winter of possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We're in the grip of we were in the grip of the worst pandemic in the century. That crisis since the Great Depression. The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. But we came together as Americans. We got through it. We emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Today, we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly 16 million new jobs, a record. Wages are up. Inflation continues to come down. The racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We're literally rebuilding our entire nation, urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities. Manufacturing has come back to America. We're leading the world again in chips and science and innovation. We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors. More people have health care today in America than ever before. And I signed one of those significant laws helping millions of veterans and their families who are exposed to toxic materials. You know, most significant climate law ever in the history of the world. The first major gun safety law in 30 years. And today, the violent crime rate is at a 50-year low. We're also securing our border. Border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office. I've kept my commitment to appoint the first Black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I also kept my commitment to have an administration that looks like America and be a president for all Americans. That's what I've done. I ran for president 4 years ago because I believed and still do that the soul of America was at stake. The very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case. America's an idea. An idea stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's the most powerful idea in the history of the world. That idea is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We've never fully lived up to it, to this sacred idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I do not believe the American people will walk away from it now. In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice. I've made my views known. I would like to thank our great Vice President Kamala Harris. She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. To make that choice, remember the words of Benjamin Franklin hanging on my wall here in the Oval Office, alongside the busts of Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders have given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it. A republic, if you can keep it. Whether we keep our republic is now in your hand. My fellow Americans, it's been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could a kid with a stutter, from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Claymont, Delaware, one day sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But here I am. That's what's so special about America. We're a nation of promise and possibilities, of dreamers and doers, of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return with the love and support of the American people. I hope you have some idea how grateful I am to all of you. Great thing about America is here. Kings and dictators do not rule. The people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. You just have to keep faith, keep the faith. And remember who we are. We're the United States of America. And there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together. Preserve our democracy. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you.
Okay, I was watching it on an actual different channel, so I'm gonna knock this out. I guess this is off, so we can take this. We can stop this screen. I'm gonna actually drop the link for those who participate in. But before he speaks, let me know if you can hear me now. Okay, good, because I had myself on mute on the other mic. I had 50 million gadgets in front of me, and I promised to get it together by tomorrow. I just got to get that card, and it'll be like happy days are here again, so we'll be able to do that all over. There's a couple things I want to throw out there, and let me put this invite link. I want to have a little round robin discussion while I bring these points up. So we're going to kind of share the space, but I just want to invite everybody on in. And I do have a few things I want to say, a few things that were pointed out. There's a lot of gossip, rumors, but there's a lot of things that are fact. I want to know, I'm going to hit hard right now. How many black women here are voting for Kamala Harris? I'm not going to be mad if you say you do. How many people, black people, are voting for Kamala Harris to be the president of the United States? How many people of all races? Let's identify. And if you are, tell me why in the chat room. If you are not, tell me why in the chat room. I will still love you. I won't treat you any kind of way. Don't be afraid. You know we show respect to all viewpoints here. Okay, I kind of figured that. Tracy J and Diane. Type 1 if you want to come on to the show. That's a good one. There's a link right there, and I'm trying to get over to the other screen directly on YouTube. Let me see if I can do that. It may echo for a second if the sound comes on. Let me just make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, now if I put it in this chat room, let me just put this, join the chat, or join the show rather, right? There might be somebody out there who doesn't know us that good and wants to come in, but they're a little shy. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to pin that to the top so you can. And there will be somebody who watches this show like 10 days from now and going to be like, it's not working. Yeah. Okay. I kind of figured that, but this is what I heard, and confirm if it's true. Now, you know, I'm not the super political guy, the way I love the sport of boxing, the way I love the sport of bodybuilding, the way I love so many other things. But I'm getting some good crash courses from an individual who, if I was Mike Tyson, I'd call them customato with a lot of things, right? I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, and just go into more detail, that many years ago when she was running for a particular office, she marketed herself and put herself out there as being an Indian, the first Indian candidate, right? Indian. But this is why in one of my shorts I called her a shapeshifter, because now she's claiming to be not necessarily black, but she's saying that she's a woman of color. What does that mean? Because white women can go out in the sun and get a little color. And we have Brother Bowles coming on in. Welcome on in, brother. But she, what is it? Is she a shapeshifter or what? How are you Indian? She has an Indian mother, and she has a father that she disowns. Okay, now I got to pull out this mic because I will not be able to hear Brother Bowles when he speaks, or anybody, because it kind of blocks out the sound, I believe. Matter of fact, yeah, I need to do that so I can keep this thing charged up. So we're going to pull this out. Let me know if you can hear me through the phone now, because the wireless mic is out. We're kind of learning as we go along here, so I can keep this thing charged. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me.
Brother Lance, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you so much. Let me just make this point here. How is it that
Yes, sir.
she marketed herself as an Indian, now she's a woman of color, and she's trying to act in a way that, you know, with the swag that a black woman has. Now, she is a black woman, but why didn't she say she was that before? She seems to have a problem with black men, because from what I'm hearing, there was a black brother who was supposed to be, he was on death row and supposed to be executed, and she withheld the evidence that would set him free as an innocent man, or she tried to, but they overruled that and he was set free. How cruel is that? How cold-hearted is that? Is this because she despises her father for some reason? She disowns her father and she put them down because her father is from Jamaica and the mother is an Indian, right? From India. But why? Well, he's such a brilliant man. He's a scholar. He's an educator on the university level. The father, a Jamaican black man. But she claimed to be Indian. Well, you know, it takes two to tango, and she has a mixed heritage, but from what I'm hearing, that whatever the father is, you are. Not in every case. You know, melanin is quite strong. But the bottom line is, why this deception, and who is this woman when she's not liked anywhere she is? There's videotape and audio of her saying things that are so terrible that nobody in their right mind would want to vote for her. But as I go across the internet and cyberspace, probably, you never know. You know, there's going to be some, look, Jamaica's not a really huge island. I know, was it 170 something miles wide and 26 miles high? Trust me, there's a lot of mixture going on down there. There's got to be some connection with her. So why? And why the deception? And why putting down her side of the family that's black? So she evidently has some problem with black men, right? And there's so many black women who don't know this, who are just rolling with her because she's been repurposed and repackaged as this black sister who's going to do things, and they never look into the history. There's so many people, black people, that don't know the facts on who this woman is, but they're rolling with her, and that's how stupid many of us are. Just as though the same people that don't vote on principle and on the issues, they just go on and check the Democratic box down the line, not knowing. You understand? So I don't understand how many of us, we're to be the ones at fault, because if she was to become president of the United States, black people in America, that's the last thing you want, because she does not love you. Brother Bowles, talk to me.
You know, Brother Lance, greetings to you and greetings to the listeners. You know, I think it was Bill Parcells who said that your record says who you are. This woman's record speaks for herself. First of all, she was a career prosecutor. a career prosecutor, so like Joe Biden. So she's never been on the side of the aisle where you have to defend somebody. I mean, I could see if she was a defense attorney at one point and then she was a prosecutor. Okay, fine, because you kind of been on both sides of the fence. But all her adult life, legal adult life, she's been prosecuted. In other words, she to me, she comes off like someone that has a vendetta. She comes off as somebody, she wants revenge. I remember when she talked about she took it upon herself to start locking up parents out there in California whose children may be truant. When we were coming up, there was a truant officer, and remember when you didn't go to school, if you missed 2 or 3 days, they would come to your house, but they didn't come to your house to lock you up.
Right.
And the parents and the child, the parents may not know. You know, I remember one time, true story. My father, he came home one day, and he saw my sister. It was a school day, so he asked her. He said, "How was school today?" She said, "Oh, we did this and did that." I think she might have been a freshman or something in high school. And she said,
Right.
"Did that?" He said, "Oh," he said, "What else did you do at school?" She said, "I did this." He said, "Wow, that's interesting. You did all of that because I went up to school today and you weren't there."
Wow.
Bam, got caught. But even though she was a little truant, they would send a truant officer. I mean, he stopped it. I mean, this was just one day. So it was, you know, he spoke to her about it and she kind of got the deal. She understood what time it was. But even if she
Right.
would have missed 2 and 3 days and he didn't know, the truant officer came to your house. So the point I'm trying to make is that this woman talked about, she took it upon herself. She took it upon herself because she said, "I got my education and I got this." Okay, fine. But you can't take the law within your own hands. You can't do that, even though the legal system has its elements of unjust. But you're going to take, that would be like me saying, I'm going to pass a law to come into people's house and have sex with their wives. And I could do it because their wives are not being satisfied and that body shouldn't go to waste. That sounds insane. That's insanity.
That's
So
right.
no, Brother Lance, this woman's record, her record speaks for herself. This woman was think about this, people. She was a career prosecutor. That's all she knows is punishing, punishing,
Right.
punishing, punishing, punishing. And she wants my vote, and she's silly. I don't care about I don't care. You know, I'm going to say this, Lance. I'm going to end it at this.
Mhm.
A person of color. You want a person of color in the job. What kind of stuff is that? That would be like you and I saying, you know what, there's people of color out here that don't get a chance in life. So we're going to find a homeless person. We're going to put them in the hospital and make them a brain surgeon. Because you've been denied, you've been rejected, you've been despised. So what we're going to do, we're going to put you in a hospital. That person to go in there and kill all their patients.
Exactly.
And then you and I jump up and everybody say, but wait a minute, why would you take a person who's not qualified and put them in a job? Well, you're racist, you're this, you're that.
See,
because they should have opportunity, they should have chance. That's a deranged individual.
Well, would you fly in an airplane of somebody who was a self-taught pilot who never sat in a plane?
Of course,
who just read books to learn
not.
how to fly a plane? Exactly.
Because by law, according to the FAA, they have to have so many hours of flight hours, so many simulator hours. There's requirements.
That's right.
There's requirements to the job. That's not a job that everybody can do. We're not talking about driving a golf cart, and some people would have a problem doing that.
You right about that.
So,
but how is it that people are ignoring what the facts are? These people just see something on the surface and they just go for it. But you can see the resentment on her face. You can see it in the way she talks when they spoke about reparations and she skirted the issue in that clip about, well, we got to do something that raises up and helps everybody. But then when the LGBTQ get their stuff and the Asian hate get their attention and other whatever, but they get what they get. And let's not even speak about the people who Kanye West had a problem with. They're all embedded in this government. And when Netanyahu came here to speak, they said online that, well, that's the real president of the United States. He's the one who's really calling the shots. I mean, is that hate talk? No, it's not. It's proper speculation. We can't think about what You know, what's good? It just doesn't make any sense.
What you see, Brother Lance, that's part of the trick. You know, game recognizes game.
Yes,
I
indeed.
have my issues. I have my issues with reparations. I'm all. In other words, I'm saying I'm all for us repairing ourselves as people. Now, how
But
that
the
repair
mind has to
happens,
be right.
that's absolutely that you have to, because now I think most of us would agree that there needs to be some repair us as a people. Now, how that repair is done, that's open for debate. But in terms of Kamala Harris, it seems like what they're saying is, well, black people, and this is not just her, this is part of the administration, this is part of the plan. You all, we won't give you reparations in terms of money. We'll say, well, we got to discuss it. We got to put a committee together. You know, want. But they will say, black man, if you put on a dress, black woman, if you act like a man,
Uh-huh.
we got plenty of checks for that. In fact, we'll put the checkbook in front of you and you can write whatever you want in it. Oh,
A
you want to
blank
carry
check.
this rainbow flag? Yeah, blank check. Go ahead. I'll give you my special pen and you can put as much money as you want. When it has to do with sexual confusion, oh yeah, we'll definitely repair you. We'll get you surgery. We'll rearrange everything. Oh, you want it in the back? We'll switch it and put it in the
We'll
back,
pay
and
for it.
the front become the
We'll
back, and the back
subsidize
become the front.
everything.
This, of
Hmm.
course. You want sexual construction or rearrangement? Oh yeah, we'll give you that. But reparations, something that's going to repair your mind and make you more competitive, make you more civilized, make you people more organized, make you think constructively. Oh no, we can't have that. We can't govern. We in the old days we used to lynch you on the poles and trees. Now we castrate you. Now we castrate you mentally. That's the
Yep.
name of the game today.
Yep.
You see, we used to physically castrate you, but now we mentally castrate you people.
Yeah. Until we have people walking around mentally sick, pushing certain
Mm-hmm.
things. I want to play a little clip real
Mm-hmm.
quick, just to spice this up as
Yes,
we
sir.
continue the
Mm-hmm.
discussion. Let me just remove this banner. You know, just as soon as I get the hang of it,
Mm-hmm.
okay, here we go. Let's play this clip here. Let me find it again on the screen. Make it bigger.
Ran into me because you're a transphobe and you're having a bad life.
I have trans friends.
So why did you walk into me like that?
You're looking for problems and you're purposely
Am I?
antagonizing me.
Am I?
So I'm gonna give you a minute and then I'm gonna call the cops because you was going in that direction and now you're following me to this location.
Because you,
and I'm gonna stand here for 1 minute.
You antagonized me.
Okay, what's
and
your name?
You're a black woman calling a
What's
cops
your
on a
name?
trans woman. And I just want you to
What's
think.
your name?
I want you to think about that.
Okay,
You're a black woman calling the cops
go ahead.
on a trans
Go
woman.
continue to
And I
walk.
want you to think about that.
We're at 37
I'm
seconds.
going to pray for you.
I'm going to hang.
Because I pray.
I'm going to stop recording at 1 minute and I'm going to call the cops if you're still in my area. I haven't offended you in any
hit
way.
me on the
And
sidewalk
you're
with your
following
body.
me.
You hit me.
Honey.
It's
What?
not honey
Okay.
anymore, bitch. It's
Oh
not
my
honey.
God.
All right.
It's not honey.
Oh my God.
Bitch.
We're just going to patiently wait for the cops.
Yes, we are.
This is getting,
No
You're a
disrespect,
hypocrite,
it's Henry.
You're a
getting a
liberal
little bit more
hypocrite,
aggressive.
and you're a bitch. Yeah, I am aggressive. I have
You-
PTSD, bitch.
Okay.
You fucked with the wrong tranny today, bitch.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
That's what you should be doing. You should be deleting that fucking video.
I will not. Because I feel...
I have a lawyer. I have 2 and 3
Okay.
lawyers, honey. I will sue your pants off,
I'm not going to speak
bitch.
anymore, okay?
I will sue your pants off.
I'm not speaking anymore.
Good. I risk my life every day getting ready in the morning, and you have the temerity to hit me with your body.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but my hands are shaking because I have anxiety currently because of this individual is not
You
leaving
need
me
to
alone.
go. You need therapy. And you know what? You'd be better off in the hood because the hood people, they know how to act.
Okay.
They know how we treat each other. You went to Bard. You have a master's. You have an MBA.
I am
and you work
currently
with a lot of
starting to
bunch of
shake
white
more
bitches
because
up
this
in the
individual would
fucking
not
thing.
leave me alone.
Fuck you! I have PTSD from being assaulted by people like you. And by that I mean insecure assholes. I'm not a racist, in case that's where you're gonna oh, racist trans woman attacks me on the sidewalk. You assaulted me on the sidewalk, and then you called the
I
cops
think I
on
see
me.
lights coming down.
Good. It's taking so long. I looked better than you, and you couldn't handle it because you have internalized misogyny, internalized femphobia, internalized homophobia. You're an angry young lady. You're an angry young woman, and I really wish we could be friends. But that does not give you the right to hit me on the sidewalk, which is what you did. You assaulted me, ma'am. Yeah, please. I'm really looking forward to seeing this performance. Master class. I think.
Unbelievable.
You know, Brother
Unbelievable.
Lance, I see two things that stand out in that video. One, a person who's delusional, and two, a
But of
person
course-
that deals in a lot of projection, and also, thirdly, self-hatred.
Well,
A
you
lot
know,
of
there's a
self-hate.
yeah, oh, definitely. But there's a blurring of the lines in society now. And I hate to say, no, I don't hate to say it, but the mental sickness is running free. And it's always now, if you notice, where it's about the black woman. It's about the black woman. You got a white man wanting to be a black woman and having a problem with a black woman and saying that, oh, yeah. See, that man is, or that chemical experiment, hormone experiment, is projecting what they feel and what a lot of white women feel, as well as white men who want to be women, about black women. You heard what he said? Oh, I look better than you, and so you got an issue with that. And you have a mentally sick individual. Like, you can't be trans or homosexual and not be mentally sick. For those who say that it's not a mental sickness, isn't a certain percentage, would you say, just like the general population, mentally sick? Whether it's 10%, 15%, 5%, I don't know. But you mean because now you're homosexual or you're trans, you can't be mentally sick? You can't tell me that all of those in that category are mentally, you know, and we know the answer, but we won't go there. We're going to read between the lines. So you mean none of them are mentally sick? Come on now, right? And then you have a woman, a black woman. I don't know what that lady looked like, but that was definitely New York City because I saw the side of the phone booth, and I saw the sign that looked like East 9th Street or something like that. Yeah, but that's definitely New York. But in New York, it's allowed. It's just all over the place. It's been all over the place. Long before the internet helped to spread certain ideologies to make it seem like it's more okay to do this and do that. Whatever you do, do it behind closed doors. Hopefully now, you don't see heterosexual couples in the rush hour traffic on the double yellow line, 5 o'clock in the rush hour, when the news cameras are rolling, having sex, do you? But I've seen in the streets of New York City at night, of course, you're walking down the street between two cars and you smelling butt. You're like, oh man, look at them over there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was chilling out on a pier, on a pier, and it was actually, I was with 3 women, and we were walking around, and that's Christopher Street is like the gayest street in the city, and I had no problem with that, right? I'm with these girls with nice restaurants down there, arm in arm with them, everything. So we went up on the dock, we chilling, and there's a big dock, trucks and stuff roll up on their 18-wheelers. It's a huge dock. You can get a good view at that time of the World Trade Center, and you can go so far out into the Hudson River, you can really see a good, it was almost frightening to see those mighty buildings so tall looming over you in the dark. They would play music, people dancing, nobody bothered anybody. I'm leaning up on a little divider because it's a dock. You just can't walk off and fall in the water. They had a concrete divider, possibly about maybe 4.5 feet tall. So we're leaning up on that. And there's about 6 feet from that divider over to where you can fall off into the water. And I'm hearing this clapping noise. The music was, somebody had a boom box way on the other side, but I'm hearing this. I'm like, who's clapping? I thought it was one of the girls. I turn around, man. These dudes were behind us, both looking at us, glasses on, steamed up. One was hitting each other, the other one from behind, and they were giggling. And these men had to be damn near 50 years old. They look 65, but you know, certain people don't age well. So I give them a good 50. And why were you doing that out there, looking at us laughing like it's okay? What if I jumped over and shoved you all off? That's not decent, even if you're a heterosexual couple. So don't come with that. So this thing is a blurring of the lines, and it seems like the world is fascinated with Black womanhood or bringing in somebody who is a substitute to desecrate real Black womanhood. They want to blur those lines. If they don't have the hoochie out there, I'm not calling Black women hoochie, but the projection of Black women, right? As being less than, as being an object of pleasure, as being decadent, as being easy, as being ignorant, being fast, or something they can control that may have a white husband, may be Indian and with a Black father, but hate the Black father. Is that part of the requirements that you hate Black men? You got a record of being a prosecutor and doing something bad to over 2,000 of them unfairly, using your position? What kind of vendetta do you have? So what happens when you got to deal with Black men in government? You got to deal with Black men as if you were the president. So now we got it bad that way. I mean, Biden is a racist. He tries to hide it, but there's footage of him using the N-word and different things from back in the past. How quickly we forget. It's almost like we have documentation of this stuff. And, you know, for those who are listening, the internet can be scrubbed, okay? The internet can be scrubbed of certain information, data, websites, links. Unless you download it, unless you remember it, it's gone. You can't search it or find it. Go ahead, brother.
And you know, Lance, just to add to that, talking about Scrub more recently, you know, the guy that shot Trump, or shot, you know, attempted to assassinate him. Are you ready for this? It's been reported he was in a BlackRock commercial.
Oh, snap. For real?
Yeah. He was sitting in the classroom. He was sitting in the classroom. And, you know, BlackRock was supposed to get that contract that once the war in Ukraine was over, they was going to get that construction contract. Just like your big, like DynCorp and all these other big major defense they supposed to have a contract to rebuild Ukraine. Yeah, this guy, he was in a BlackRock commercial, and when people said this guy looks familiar, and when they went back to find that commercial, that thing has been basically scrubbed from the internet because he was sitting in the classroom during the commercial. It was like commercial people in the classroom, from what I understand, and they scrubbed the internet of that. That's and this is no disrespect to anybody who may have homosexual or lesbian challenges. But what I come to learn, Brother Lance, in that community, you have two types of males. You have the typical gay male who tends to hate women, and you have the transsexual male who wants to be a woman. Now, what would a man look like running into a gynecologist's office saying he wants an examination? And people say, well, wait a minute, sir, you're a male. What are you talking about? I'm a trans so-and-so binary so-and-so so-and-so so-and-so, and I want an examination.
That binary word.
But they say, but sir, you're a male. What do you mean I'm a male? I'm a trans so-and-so so-and-so, and just go on and on and on. And at some point, and then he say, I'm going to file a lawsuit. You stop and think about it, say, wait a minute. This thing is getting out of hand. You know, in logic, there's something called the 3 rules of logic. I'm only going to deal with the first one. The first law is called the law of identity. There's a certain cultural contract, a societal contract that we have. Like if I held up a pen and I said, Brother Lance, what is this in my hand? You say, brother, that's a pen. Okay. We in agreement with that. If I hold a cell phone in my hand, I said, Brother Lance, what's this? You say, this is a cell phone. Okay, so we in agreement. So we understand that in order for understand our environment, We have to be able to understand when we see things, we understand what we're looking at. How can we have a society of people when people are so sexually confused that they don't even know what they are and what they identify with? And even what they identify with is incorrect. How are you going to have
But see,
a mentally sane society when people
right,
don't
but the
even know?
sexual
Again,
confusion is
they
just
look between
begun.
their legs and they can't tell if they're male or female.
Right, but the sexual confusion has just begun. Because just like they said, we're coming after your kids. Why? Because they cannot reproduce, so they have to bring new people into the fold and make it seem fair seeming, and it's okay.
Right.
I got another clip that
Right.
I'm gonna play that's kind of informative that was sent to me and quite shocking also. Let me get this together here. Let me pull this off.
And Kamala Harris, her husband is one of those people that Kanye West talked about.
Right.
Kanye West, rather.
I think the sound is low. Can you hear that?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, let me do something here. I jumped the gun. I'm so anxious to show this clip. I jumped the gun. I'm looking at it thinking everybody can see it. Let me go back and do this thing the right way.
Lance, people just be sending you the goodies, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes I get the personal goodies too.
but we won't harp on that, right?
Yeah, right.
Hey man, when you're an internet person like yourself, man, it happens. So
I get the homemade goodies, personal stuff. Okay, here we go.
This may be the most shocking expose that I've done simply because the brand is so out of alignment with their customers. This is Harley Davidson. It's time for them to be exposed. In Harley's words, they are all in on diversity and inclusion. Now, let's take a look at what that means. I wonder how many Harley riders are aware that Harley Davidson is a platinum founding member of the LGBT Chamber of Commerce, Wisconsin. This is the same chamber that says on behalf of the businesses that are a part of the Wisconsin LGBT Chamber, they opposed banning transgender sex changes for children. Harley Davidson even hosted an LGBTQ plus boot camp at their corporate offices. And look at that sweet cake they got them. Isn't that just so inclusive? Here's a closer look at that cake for all you Harley riders out there. So who's Harley Davidson's CEO? Well, it's another CEO that was placed right around COVID.
Jochen Zeitz is an unusual choice to lead Harley Davidson. He's German. He's an outspoken climate activist.
The businessman who uses his millions to change opinions on climate change. Are you getting Harley Davidson vibes yet?
In 2030, that we should be completing that total transformation of the company.
If his goal is the total transformation of Harley Davidson, well, he's well on his way. They sponsored this LGBTQ plus Pride event where they had a rage room. And I am not joking, something called a rage room to, quote, let off steam. It was located right next to the story time area for children to interact with dragons and the play catch with a dad for all those who had daddy issues. In Harley's so-called sustainability report, they also say that their 1,800 global employees completed a virtual training to learn what an ally is to the LGBTQ plus community, and that employees also participated in an engaging and interactive learning session that allowed them to explore social identities, both seen and unseen. We all know what that means. And then again, in honor of National Coming Out Day, employees attended a virtual session featuring Sandy Eichel. Let's see who Sandy is.
Sandy Eichel is not your typical financial services speaker. Once a Lutheran pastor's wife, a professional opera singer, and a consummate perfectionist, Sandy had the picture-perfect life. But inside, she was miserable. So she chose a new last name, a new career, and a whole new mindset, which elevated her to the top of her profession.
We have to change our culture, and we need to do it quickly.
In their sustainability report, their CEO also brags about their 90 out of 100 HRC CEI score. This score is one I've explained many times before, but essentially is the Trojan horse that pushes all these left-wing values into corporations. And this score begs the question, is Harley Davidson's health plan covering the transition of children? That's one of the metrics that the HRC CEI score judges. And if you're a Harley Davidson dealer, guess what? They've got a plan for you heading into 2032. They want to increase the diversity across the global dealer network at both the staffing and owner-operator levels. That's a fancy corporate speak way of saying white people. I think it's important to note at this The CEO of Harley-Davidson is making almost $12 million a year while making these changes. In Harley-Davidson's sustainability report, they also bragged that their legal department participated in the American Bar Association's 21-day challenge. Through 21 days of short readings and videos, the challenge encouraged participants to step out of their comfort zones to acquire greater racial literacy and inspire engagement in the fight against racial inequality. So let's take a look at what's in that challenge. It promotes the widely debunked and racist 1619 Project. It promotes a radical book called Black Panthers and White Lies. It promotes the idea that climate change is harming expectant Black mothers, and they promote Marxist Ibram Kendi, who says you can't be an anti-racist unless you're anti-capitalist. This training also supports illegal immigration, and it supports the Marxist Black Lives Matter organization. That's not all, though. This training also makes the case for reparations. Harley-Davidson sponsored York County Pride. Here's some photos, totally normal stuff. I'm not even sure what's going on here. Celebrating Pride Month is not enough for Harley-Davidson, though. Under their new CEO, they also made March and February months of inclusion. Don't worry, though, because they never miss Pride. They also brag in their sustainability report that they support the HRC's call for the Equality Act to be passed. So what is the Equality Act? The Equality Act is a lot like naming a bill, vote yes if you want to say Puppies Act, and then inside the bill, it actually mandates that you kill puppies. The Equality Act in reality has nothing to do with equality. It's about stripping women of their spaces and allowing men into bathrooms and locker rooms. So you can expect to see more bathroom assaults like this. For all you Harley riders out there, I want to be explicitly clear. Harley-Davidson supporting the Equality Act being passed means that they support boys competing against your daughters in sports, stripping them of their championships, their opportunities, and their scholarships. It also means that they support men following your daughter into the bathroom, and your daughter is supposed to shut up and be okay with it. But if Harley-Davidson did not support the Equality Act and men following little girls in the bathroom, they probably wouldn't win cool awards like this from the LGBT Chamber of Commerce in Wisconsin. So, I mean, really, what matters more here? Harley also apparently did a P-Flag training. That is an organization that supports child sex changes. And here's a quote here. Harley-Davidson becoming a trans ally and going beyond the binary. Again, are you feeling Harley vibes yet? If you've been watching my series Exposing Woke Companies, then you're familiar with United Way, who was a partner with John Deere doing a 21-day equity challenge. That challenge is one of the most insane far-left pieces of propaganda I have ever seen. And again, United Way pops its head up here with a $320,000 donation from Harley-Davidson. So I said, that's weird. How much money has Harley given them? Turns out it is millions. Here's United Way Milwaukee bragging about one of those $1 million donations. So my question is, why is Harley-Davidson supporting with millions of dollars an organization that is pushing far left Marxist propaganda on the public? Are Harley riders really cool with supporting an organization like this? Speaking of things coming back around, remember this Bud Light fiasco? And remember how John Deere was also on a Budweiser beer? You seriously cannot make this stuff up. But anyways, back to United Way. If you don't remember them from my John Deere expose, here's a reminder of what their 21-day equity challenge was like. It was recommended to read Ibram Kendi's How to Be an Anti-Racist. It says, read Awake to Woke to Work, Building a Race Equity Culture, essentially a book about bringing wokeness to work. Another challenge option I received was to listen to the podcast episode, Bias Isn't Just a Police Problem, It's a Preschool Problem. No, I'm not joking. And just when we thought we were done with Ibram Kendi, they're discussing his book, Anti-Racist Baby. Yes, that is the children's book about anti-racism. When I was recommended a book about Black transgender people, the first thing that popped in my mind, by the way, tractors. This 21-day equity challenge from United Way also recommended that I watch the 2018 video Deconstructing White Privilege by Robin DiAngelo. Again, another far-left figure. So in case you're doubting that Harley-Davidson also participated in training with United Way after giving them millions of dollars, well, it's right here. They had more than 65 Milwaukee area employees attend a panel discussion to learn more about the long-standing discrimination issues in the community and how COVID-19 has highlighted the inequality in our society. Harley-Davidson also brags in their sustainability reports that they had employees go for leadership training and diversity training at United Way, and that 15 employees participated in conversations on race with the YMCA, along with other employees who had to go to the White Men is Full Diversity Partners training. That is a white male only training course. That's not enough, though. They also had 50 employees take part in a training with the Human Library Organization. Let's take a look at the Human Library Organization. No surprises here, but I really wanted to make sure all you riders are aware that the Harley-supported Pride Ride in Wisconsin is a safe space for you. Again, no, I am not joking. Harley's activism does not stop there. They also were named a top business partner for LGBTQ plus inclusion by the Pennsylvania Youth Congress, who they support. And the Pennsylvania Youth Congress is also responsible for getting gender-neutral IDs in Pittsburgh.
Harley-Davidson is an American icon. Its CEO, Jochen Zeiss, is taking it down a new road.
Well, they've got that right. I meet Ryan. He's Harley Davidson's program and project management. And he says that he is so proud to work at a company where this is not a controversial post to make, especially in the current environment with anti-trans and anti-drag bills passing all over the country. This is on Transgender Day of Visibility. Now, let's be very clear what he's talking about. He's talking about laws that ban sex changes for kids and ban children from being able to attend sexual drag shows. Those are the laws he's opposing. And apparently, in his view, that is not controversial at Harley Davidson, that he supports kids being able to get sex changes and kids being able to go to drag shows. Ryan also seems to hold the view that a company going woke does not mean it will go broke. So I think this might be a good test case. Let's find out if Ryan's right. If you think that Harley Davidson has fallen totally out of alignment with its core customers that have made that company great and successful, then here's their customer service number to call. And here's Harley Davidson's media department contact information. If you have any questions or a request for comment as to whether or not they're going to continue down this path of wokeness and DEI, or if they're going to turn around before they destroy this once great American company. And finally, you may want to call or write their owners group, okay? The Harley owners group, they would want to hear from you about anything that you're upset about as a Harley rider. And this last part is to the CEO of Harley Davidson. I know you're watching this video, so let me tell you what your customers actually want, because it's pretty easy. Just get rid of the social issues and divisive causes. Make great motorcycles and provide customer service. No more CEI scores, no more DI departments, no more woke trainings, no more donations to woke causes, no more donations to pride parades that parade sexuality to children. Just make motorcycles, period. It was a great motorcycle company, and you were destroying it if you continue down this path. You have a chance to turn around now, and we're very forgiving out here. You want forgiveness, though? You need to turn around and stop all of this wokeness and get back to the core business that made Harley Davidson great.
Wow.
Brother Lance.
So, yes.
Two things real quick before I forget. You know, when a person spreads poison, there's something in the universe called the law of compensation, meaning when a person puts something out into the society, don't be surprised when it comes back to them. Okay?
Exactly.
So that's what we see is what's happening. This poison that's being put into the society that these individuals are putting out there, and it's coming back. And then in the process of it coming back, listeners, viewers, Lance, we're witnessing the unraveling of America society.
Of course.
It's just unraveling. And I have a feeling when this is all over with, this is just me. This is this disclaimer. I'm saying this. I think it's going to be bloodshed. Because when you start going after people's children, that's a whole nother. It's one thing to do something to me or to you or maybe to one of the listeners, but when you do it to their children,
that's right.
Go ahead, brother.
It's an immovable force and an immovable object, if that's how it goes. People have been quiet. We've been tolerant on so much of the foolishness that's out there. But once it gets to a certain point, there are black people, white people, Latino, this, that, every race, that we grew up a certain way. And we're not going to allow people to tell us what to do with our children, and especially enforce some twisted laws when, in fact, this trans community is so small.
Right.
What is it? 5 million, 10 million? No. It can't even be a couple 100,000. So why is something so small the focal point? Because like I said before, it's bigger than just that. That's just one of the balls. Even though they don't have it after a while.
For a better choice of words.
Exactly. Pun intended. Freudian slip.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the pool table. And to me, it all pulls back to something, someone, some people, some entity, some spirit, some force that hates God. Let's just say it that way. Whether a person, I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about the positive creator that put this, because this couldn't be by chance. There is something here with us that hates the life that we were given, that hates the gifts that we were given in a nice atmosphere, fruit growing, vegetables growing, good climate, unless you choose to go up north in the snow. But they say in the Bible that that's our Father, and it's a fatherly relationship. We are given this life, and everything that this system, the man-made artificial system, presents is against that life that was given to us. It wants to it wants to confuse you. I mean, you got two sexes. What is this other where does this thing fit? And why are you pushing this? You can blow at the sun all you want. You can get anybody on the planet Earth to blow at the sun, talking about we're gonna blow it out. You can't do it. Nature finds its balance.
Right.
And we do have the physical, we do have the mental, we do have the spiritual. I'm not pushing any one thing. I'm just saying that when you start messing around that way, is it a wonder why the climate is acting a certain way? These storms, these animals going and biting people up and just mayhem all over the place? Yes. We're going to turn in on these people who are trying to upset the delicate, sweet balance that we've been born into. I don't know how to grow an apple. I just know how to plant the seed in the soil and make the conditions proper. Simple as that. You don't have to be a scholar to know how to submit to nature, but there's something else that wants us to submit to this other thing. And like I said before, too much is happening too fast. And now we have the AI. And if you ask me, that Biden speech sounded and looked just like AI. It did not look real. It did not look real. I'm not saying he's actually deceased, but there's too much manipulation going on, especially when you see the fact that just days before he said that he was not going to step down, all of a sudden he's going to step down. He could be kicking and scratching somewhere to let me go, you know, and maybe this could be an AI. Whatever we have as far as technology, trust me, the government has so much more, and you can stage anything. Right now, it's really hard to trust much of what we see, you know, and this year coming in is going to be, this is just a warm-up. This shutdown of the internet, which I was trying to explain to a friend of mine, that if this thing shuts down, do you really understand how bad it can be? And it's not about being a doomsayer. It's about being prepared. And I've been saying this for years. Even me up in the mountains here in West Africa, I'm not all the way ready yet. It'll take a few more months, but I'm not ready yet. I'm still dependent on the system. I still need to get that ATM card and that check. But I was telling a friend of mine, if this thing happens to that magnitude all the way through, your pension check doesn't exist anymore. Your Social Security doesn't exist anymore. Your savings are wiped out. So what you gonna do? Wait, well, I'll go buy this. Buy with what? You're gonna have to barter. What happens when the supermarkets are empty? We so focused. I'm not saying we here are focused on this trans craziness and binariness and gender equality. Gender equality is two sexes. And these people are out here fighting over stuff and all this distraction when the big thing can be coming. And so I have another clip. We're going to do this all the time like this. But
can I say something real?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead,
add to what you're saying. In terms of the spiritual realm, and maybe this might give people a little insight. When you mention about this hatred, and I agree with you that there is a force in this universe that despises the human being, male and female.
Yes.
Let's get that out the way first. That despises the man and the woman. It's a force in this universe. And some people will call the force Satan. Other people will call him Shaitan. but it's still the same thing. It's a force, and this force, it despises the human being so bad that it wants to take the human being off the path that the creator intended that the human being to be on. And that this force, it has its helpers in human form. Some people call them shayateen, or Satan's helpers. And these, the people, and this is, it gets really deep. There are people who are trying to rule the world with the rod of Satan. Exactly. They can't do it on their own, but they need Satan's rod to run the thing. And these people, all this money that they're passing out, these companies, they're hoping that they can buy people off to be part of this group, because they feel like they need the materialism. They got to get material, because if they don't get material, they can't get followers. And that's just why they're always taking this and stealing that and moving. Oh, they sent $100 million over here, and they spent 200 million, because they need that. Because without that, they know they need that as a motivator. Because people are like, okay, you want me to do this? What's in it for me? What do I get out of it? So this is a force. In other words, it's a force that hates the human being with a passion. The force don't really have an issue with the creator. He don't really have an issue, because there's nothing he can do about that. This force has nothing, because this force is created. And this force wants to get the human being so off track. When that day comes, when we all stand before our creator, this force can look and say, you see, this thing, this man and woman that you created, they're not as great as you thought they were.
Right.
They're not as great as you thought they were. But this force is going to get some people, but it's not going to get everybody.
No, it's not.
It's not going to get all the people.
It's going to fool a lot of people. And let's just even speak about Black people who have inherently, normally, a higher vibration when left alone from the system. Not to put anybody above anybody else, but that's just the fact of the matter. When left alone, but the rug has been pulled out from under our feet, and we're seeking everything in this world for satisfaction, and it's not giving us the satisfaction. They put out something that we need to follow on social media, which was a big noose that we got caught up in, and we're running with the noose. We're putting the noose around our neck like it's a daggone necklace. And we're running after that instead of leaving that alone, because there are two systems. That system of what we would call Satan, or the negative, and the creator given system. And they don't want us to have it. And they want to destroy it. They're jealous, they're envious, they hate us for having it. They hate us for not wanting to be a part of their filth. They're putting out this stuff really and truly. Look how, and just like Sister Gifty said, I'm going to put the comment back up on it again. Governor Newsom just signed the first in the nation law which bans districts from requiring school staff to disclose a student's gender identity and sexual orientation to anyone without the child's permission. So you putting the child over even the parent? And so wait now, gender identity, and you're a child? Well, when you're born, if you're a male or a female, we know what you are. So why wouldn't we know what it is? That means they plan on soon allowing children, without any parent's permission, to go chop off their penis or close up their vagina, whatever they do. So that they're going to be able to do this themselves, because, like they said, we're coming after your children, and you have to empower the children to make these decisions, because no parent in their right mind would allow a child to do that. I mean, there was no parent in their right mind when I was growing up would let the child choose what they're going to eat for dinner, because they're probably going to end up eating Jolly Ranchers, Mary Janes, and Three Musketeers candy bar, which is not good for them. You see what I mean? You can't have a child decide something like that. And why? Children are not even interested in sex. They don't have the hormones yet, but they're being exposed to it, right? But why are we pushing sexuality on children when they should just have a daggone childhood? Because it's necessary for the base foundation of their development. And you pushing this on them, imprinting these things in their mind, confusing them with things, putting things on the menu that ain't real. You go to a restaurant, you want real food when you go there when you order. Well, what's that? Roach burgers, what's that? You know what I mean? You don't put something that doesn't exist.
Right.
So why the push? It's evil. And this is the beginning.
Yes, it is.
Because this is just, if you think you're seeing something now, trust me. Trust me. I'm not even going to say 10 years from now. Really and truly, the things that they're getting away with. And when I said this about 15, 20 years ago, I said, they're going to come and push the pedophilia. They're going to make it all right for a man to be with children and a woman to be with children. And what they're going to do after that? The next thing, to thumb their nose at the creator, is to push and legalize bestiality. But people didn't believe me when I said about the whole children. Like I said, you know, back in the day in Times Square, we were hanging out, and that's where they had all the peep shows on 42nd and 8th Street, 8th Avenue, I'm sorry. And I took a leak. We were all getting ready to go home. There was a doorway over there. So let me go over there and take a leak real quick. Nobody's going to complain. It was nothing but hookers and druggies out there anyway. Because you know, when I was real young back in the 70s, I had the body of a man, and I was curious. I wanted to go see what was out there. A bunch of us did. That's what I mean. But it was clean fun because we didn't do anything bad. We were clean kids. We were just curious. And I always hung up with guys a couple years older than me. So I went over to this doorway, which was sunken in, looked around, made sure nobody could see me, and I started to do my thing. But I noticed there was a sign right in front of my eyes that said NAMBLA. NAMBLA?
North American Men Boy Love Association.
North American Man Boy Love Association. I said, wait a second. Now, I didn't know all you had was that initial. They didn't put the full thing there because I'm quite sure.
What year was this, Lance?
Say it again.
What year was that?
This was 1977 or 78. I was 14 or 15 years old. Born in 63, so it was 77. I was 14, right? So later on, a couple of weeks later, in the Village Voice, which is the alternative newspaper, which many cities across America have copied the format. You look in there, you see ads in the back in the day for prostitution, male and female. But the articles were dope because they told the real deal and they were gritty, and I liked the writing style. And that kind of impacted me in my writing style to be a little gritty. So I saw an article on NAMBLA. I said, wait a second. That's the place where I was taking a leak. Let me look into this. What is this place? Maybe it's a religious organization. I don't know. So I looked and I read it out. North American Man Boy Love Association. So I'm not even thinking on such a level. I'm thinking this is an organization to bring fathers back together with their sons when they were displaced through a divorce. I'm thinking something wholesome. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm thinking,
fetish.
I'm like, man, boy. Well, you know, a man and a boy, like the father and the son. Maybe this is some kind of manhood training where you're grooming your son to be a man. I couldn't wrap my mind around what it was. So I said, let me read into it a little more. And they were just speaking in a matter-of-fact type of tone. Like, you know, this is what it is. Allowing a man to, you know, and they had an office in 1977 in New York City. Now, that was 1977. How long ago was that? You see what I mean? That's almost 50 years ago. So the thing is that it's highly organized. They got a website. They got people all over the world who are down with this, and politicians and clergy who discreetly donate and support. Now, I have to also say, and I did a show that I think was on the old channel that I have to find again. I think I uploaded it, but I know I can get it, about Mastodon. And that's a Twitter-like social media platform. And I am on it. And it can be used whatever you want to have it used for, because I know when I go on Twitter, aka X, sometimes I click a link and I see nothing but hardcore porn. I'm looking up in some woman's crotch. I'm like, what the heck is this? So why that is different, and I'm just adding this on to hit people to what's going on, is that where Twitter or X and most platforms have a central, and I don't know how to explain the technological way. I'm going to do it in an abstract way really quick, where it's one platform where you connect to it and everybody can see basically who runs it what's going on. Well, look at Mastodon. It's like a multi-headed dragon. And if you go to one dragon, you're only going to see what's there. You're not going to see. You can make multiple servers, hundreds of thousands of servers on their own. That's closed off. That only people who know about it that you share it with can go on. So I would say, because at the point that the article came out and I read it and I did a show on it, they say 40% of those who are on Mastodon are active pedophiles, sharing files, sharing movies. Now, I'm not on that fact. You have a lot of artists, it's legit. But they made it that way, and there's no way of them cracking down. So they were saying how the government wanted to go after them to crack down or whatever have you, and you're not going to bump into that stuff unless you're specifically looking for it. So like I said, I am on Mastodon. It is a very interesting place, but you kind of attract what you are. You can you can connect with people who are into the same things you're into, but you have that underground unseen thing, and they use these individual servers for their mess. So it's the closest thing to the dark web, but it's not the dark web. See, and you'll never see those multi-headed dragons that exist there. So it's really, Mastodon knows what they're doing. You see, they know exactly what they're doing. But
well, Lance, if the NSA really wanted to know who's there, they could if they really wanted to. But when people like that are oftentimes they're protected. To get away with stuff like that, they're protected. They tend to be protected. But if the NSA wanted to really investigate and figure out, okay, who are the people involved in this site, and they could if they wanted to. They have ways of doing that. But again, if we go back, and I remember those conversations you had with Irritated. If you go back, a lot of this behavior, if historical context is very important, and if we go back to the Greeks, and this, the Greeks always, the Greeks, the freaks, they always had an affair, men with boys.
Yep.
That goes back.
That's why
America
they call anal sex Greek sex.
Yeah. In fact, it was they loved the boys in their society because when they were the woman, there's always a possibility of her getting pregnant. So
that's terrible. I know what you're doing.
So yeah, this is their mindset, the Greeks. So this is before like the Hellenistic period. So the boys, when they used to have the gymnasiums, where if you were a man of substance in Greece, and they go to these places where they could just hang out and talk to their friends, they bring their little boyfriends with them, just like wrestling, Greco-Roman style wrestling. Two men, they used to have these things where men used to wrestle naked. They used to be wrestling there, and the guys be sitting there looking and everything, and and they bring their little boyfriends, their little sweethearts, little sweetheart looking guy, younger male. That was their boyfriends, and they would have these little places where they would put their pictures up on the wall where they got the term pin-ups from. They put that's mine right there. Well, what about you? Well, this one right here. So they used to be like that. So what we're looking at, in other words, what I'm saying is this. When we see this within this society, we are just seeing a continuation of that Greco-Roman culture with these males and these little boys. And if you want to step deeper, when you talked about the bestiality, the Greeks also did that as well. They had statues where men was getting down with animals.
I've seen those.
So they're yeah. So they're just continuing what's always been there. It's just
like I said, that's why they call anal sex Greek sex.
With Christianity, they had to kind of go behind closed doors. They couldn't do it up front like they used to. So
but they knew what was going on. Those were the higher ups. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's why when they have their categories and they say, French is oral, Greek is anal. Right. And a little known one that people don't know that. What is Dutch? You know what Dutch is, right?
Right.
Dutch is between the breasts.
Going Dutch.
Well, no, going Dutch is on a date spending money, but Dutch sex is a penis between the breasts. So there's all kind of subcategories, and
You know you know why they came up with the masonry position. You know how that started, right?
No, how's that start?
When mercenaries would go to mercenaries, no, masonries, not mercenaries. Masonries, when they go to countries, see, traditionally men had sex with women from behind. So when these missionaries, when they would go to these countries, they would have sex oftentimes with the native women, with the women on their backs. And the women would always notice that these type of men, these missionary men, they always love having sex with the woman on her back versus bend over. So they would call that, this is what's called the missionary position, because this is the way they like to have sex. That's why it's called the missionary position, because missionaries would have sex.
Right. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But I've spoken to prostitutes. I've never paid for a prostitute. Let me just say that. But I've known lots of prostitutes.
Oh, come on now, Lance.
They say, "Oh no, I never had a problem, man."
I got a joke for you, Lance. Around the fourth story that you told me, because you seemed to like running out of the house naked, fooling around with women. I would have been the cop out there. I said, "Now, Mr. Scurv, I'm beginning to think that you enjoy this." you
I got yanked out of vans.
I'm like, Mr. Scurv, Mr. Scurv. I said, I'm starting to believe you enjoy this. They jump out of windows.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling.
I didn't mean to get off track.
Oh, no. We good.
I've been saving that.
We good. I want to play something real quick, dealing with that shutdown. And let me get this right first, since I'm becoming a well-oiled machine with this thing. And okay, let me move this down a little bit. Come on, computer, don't mess up on me now. If you leave me now. Okay, let's make that bigger. Turn the sound up. Okay, now wait now. Obey yourself now. Come on now.
Say, Lance, you've been chased by German shepherds.
Oh yeah.
You could have been the new. Yeah. You could have been. Remember Lee Majors, the fall guy.
Yeah.
That could have been you.
I know.
The unknown stuntman.
All right, let me remove this banner. Let me share. Present. Share. Which one I'm looking at here? Okay. All right, there it go. There it is. There it is. Here we go.
The World Economic Forum in Davos is planning what they describe as a catastrophic grid outage, with the stated goal of creating a permanent reset in the US before the November election. According to insiders, the CrowdStrike outage was the final preparation for a devastating cyber attack on the US power grid that will disconnect the public from the internet, wipe out savings, and plunge the nation into chaos for years, allowing the elite to roll out the next phase of their totalitarian master plan. As the global elite order world governments to prepare to rig the November election and ration people's food and water supplies as part of their Great Reset agenda, it's never been more important to spread the word about their evil plans. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community and support the channel, and check out the brand new free speech forum at community.thepeoplesvoice.tv. The global elite have been warning us that we all own nothing in a world controlled by an authoritarian government that enslaves humanity in a totalitarian system featuring a radically reduced population, mass surveillance, mandatory vaccinations, and desperate servitude. At the Harvard Kennedy School's Institute of Politics, the WF discussed his technique of overthrowing democracies by installing his cult of global leaders in positions of power.
So that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more, half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
Evil never sleeps, And we are seeing Schwab's modus operandi play out before our very eyes. The WF has infiltrated governments across the globe, with every Western nation falling under their control. Davos has also infiltrated the corporate world, centralizing power and influence around their puppet businesses, including BlackRock, which owns a huge stake in CrowdStrike. It's a big club and you ain't in it. CrowdStrike, a WF company with very close ties to the DNC and three-letter agencies, is also operating on a massive level, integrated into the grid, government, financial, transportation, and hospital systems. Now, the globalist elite have ordered a series of devastating cyber attacks, and they're using WF-affiliated companies, including CrowdStrike, to attack America from the inside. Pay close attention to CEO George Kurtz's body language as he attempts to evade questions.
Milwaukee, I mean, you're in the cybersecurity business, and I certainly don't even pretend to understand this, but according to your statement, it was a single content update that has managed to shut down air travel, credit card payment systems, banks, broadcasts, street lights, 911, emergency around the globe. Why is there not some kind of redundancy or some sort of backup? How is it that one single software bug can have such a profound and immediate impact?
Well, when you look at the complexity of cybersecurity, you're always trying to stay one step ahead of the adversaries. Excuse me. Man, just 1 second, please.
Oh yeah, take a drink of water.
Yeah, sorry.
Sure.
It's been a long night.
We're going to cut him off there because he spent the next 5 minutes lying about why his company, in conjunction with Bill Gates' Microsoft, brought the world to a literal standstill on Friday, affecting people's ability to work, travel, access their money, and undergo important health procedures. Where do we know CrowdStrike from? They are the company that lied and said Russia hacked the DNC and released Hillary's emails. The FBI outsourced their investigation to CrowdStrike in 2016, and CrowdStrike lied and said exactly what the DNC wanted them to. In short, CrowdStrike are deep state goons, responsible for the Mueller Special Counsel and Russiagate hoax that the mainstream media perpetrated for years in their fascist attempt to destroy a duly elected president. Nobody should be surprised that the New World Order elite, in tandem with their favorite companies CrowdStrike and Microsoft, are waging war on the West and targeting the internet, food and water supplies. The elite always tell you what their plan is. The world just needs to pay attention and wake up.
Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
You don't have to be a body language expert to notice Professor Schwab's deranged excitement about the major cyber attack. Preparations for the inside job are underway, and insiders warn that the elite's three-pronged attack on humanity is set to disconnect the public from the internet, wipe out savings, and severely disrupt our food and water supplies. Sponsor is pillsforever.com. If you think Big Pharma have your best interests at heart, think again. Under Biden, the price of medicine in America has skyrocketed, and there are certain medicines Big Pharma don't want you to know about. That's why I've partnered with pillsforever.com. All of their FDA-approved medicines are the cheapest you'll find anywhere. More importantly, you can order medicines that Big Pharma don't want you to have, such as ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, and fenbendazole. Speaking of fenbendazole, not only does it get rid of parasites that live inside your body, there have been studies that show fenbendazole can help with cancer. Listen to this testimony of Joe Tippins, a cancer survivor, thanks to fenbendazole.
2 years ago, Joe Tippins says he was told to go home, call hospice, and say his goodbyes. The doctors were unanimous. He was going to die of small cell lung cancer.
Once that kind of cancer goes that far afield, the odds of survival are less than 1%, and median life expectancy is 3 months.
Tip says he got a tip, not from a pharmacist, but a veterinarian. And in his desperation, he turned from people medicine to dog medicine, specifically fenbendazole.
My insurance company spent $1.2 million on me with traditional means, I switched to a $5 a week medicine that actually.
Get 15% off using coupon code VOICE at the checkouts. Please click the link below this video or call 256-664-4170 to take advantage of this fantastic offer. The global elite laid the groundwork for their great deception with the COVID pandemic, conditioning the masses to respond to fear-based programming. Schwab's cyber attack is being prepared as the final nail in the coffin of our freedom. The elite simulated a cyber attack on Friday because they need a crisis to implement their new CBDC financial Ponzi scheme and authoritarian agenda before plunging the world into chaos. Be prepared. The same strategy of using fear as during COVID will be used again. Digital IDs and CBDCs are incoming, and as Bill Gates has warned, both will be mandatory for people to participate in society. The first phase of the digital prison they plan to lock us in has already been rolled out. 15-minute cities are appearing in the US and UK, and Australian banks are banning cash and refusing to allow customers to withdraw their own money.
Caroline, the stories abounding today that you can't get cash from banks anymore. Given how much we pay them in fees, I'm surprised we can't walk in and get the folding stuff. But I know this is an actual fact. I live not far from the centre of Melbourne, and most of the ANZ branches that I use there do not hold cash anymore. So if you're in a cash small business, I don't know where you drop off your takings, but if you want cash in your pocket, you can't get it either. And there's a bit of a backlash. I can understand why.
Yeah, there's been this TikTok video that one user put out that has caused an uproar when she said she couldn't get cash out from her own bank. And I completely understand her sentiments because this is our money at the end of the day. And it's as if the banks are treating us with absolute disdain.
The elite are downright giddy about a cashless society. Watch as a WF Gall explains that the government will be able to more easily block things it deems less desirable, like, say, ammunition.
And the one final note I will make is that if you think about the benefits of digital money, there are huge potential gains. It's not just about digital forms of physical currency. You can have programmability, units of central bank currency with expiry dates. You could have, as I argue in my book, a potentially better and some people might see it, or a darker world where the government decides that units of central bank money can be used to purchase some things, but not other things that it deems less desirable, like, say, ammunition or drugs or pornography or something of the sort. And that is very powerful in terms of the use of a CBDC.
But it's not just the financial system. It's the food and water supply too. WF executive Professor Mariana Mazzucato was caught spilling the beans about what the elites are planning for humanity in a clip from the Davos summit last year. In the disturbing speech, Mazzucato shared her disappointment that the climate change and COVID-19 narratives have proven unhelpful in furthering the globalist agenda, while boasting that a water crisis will succeed where those approaches have failed.
Also, of course, true with COVID, right? We are all only as healthy as our neighbor is on our street, in our city, in our region, in our nation, and globally. Did we solve that? Like, did we actually manage to vaccinate everyone in the world? No. So highlighting water as a global commons and what it means to work together and see it both out of that kind of global commons perspective, but also the self-interest perspective, because it does have that parallel. It's not only important, but it's also important because we haven't managed to solve those problems, but which had similar attributes. And water is something that people understand. Climate change is a bit abstract. Some people understand it really well. Some understand it a bit. Some just don't understand it. Water, every kid knows how important it is to have water. When you're playing football and you're thirsty, you need water. So there's also something about really getting citizen engagement around this and really, in some ways, experimenting with this notion of the common good. Can we actually deliver this time in ways that we have failed miserably other times? And hopefully we won't keep failing on the other things.
Did you hear that? Mazzucato actually admitted that the elite are going to experiment on humanity all over again, as though the experimental COVID jabs, which are now wreaking havoc on the vaccinated, weren't enough experimentation for one generation. They really do hold us in total contempt. At a time when inflation has gone double digits, food production plants are burning down, the supply chain is in crisis, and food shortages are on the horizon, we now understand that the elites are making moves behind the scenes control of our food and water and cut off our access to the internet and our own money. This is the future of humanity according to the New World Order. Here at the People's Voice, we are determined to expose the goals of the global elite and stop them from achieving their agenda. But we need your help. Subscribe to the channel, tell your friends and family about us, and join the People's Voice Locals community. And check out the brand new free speech forum at community.thepeoplesvoice.tv. I hope to see you there. Today's sponsor is LiverMedic. If you think the supplements you are getting from big box retailers are doing you any good, think again. Did you know that most of the retailers in America are owned and controlled by the same handful of companies that control everything? But we have a choice. LiverMedic's leaky gut repair is aimed at the millions of people suffering from all forms of digestive discomfort.
You know, Brother Lance, there's so Lance, there's so much here to dissect. Let me just say this. If we have a power outage, right, on election day, if Trump is I'm not a Trump supporter. Let me say that. I'm just saying that it's looking like it's going to be Trump.
Your line is open. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it looking like it's as of right now. But things can change. It looks like it's going to be Trump and or versus, Kamala Harris. Don't be surprised if you see Trump is up in votes and there's some major power outage, and 12 hours later the power goes up and Kamala Harris is ahead. Don't be surprised if you see something like that. See, sometimes the devil will sometimes give you a disclaimer before he does what he does, and that's what I kind of see. I look at it like the Western world, and when I say Western world, I'm talking about United States, Japan, Australia, Western Europe is falling, whereas the global South, Russia, China, these BRICS nations are coming up because these people over in the global South, Russia, China, they're not going to do this silly stuff that's happening here in the Western world. They're not going. You don't see them. The Economic Forum. You don't see them saying, "Oh yes, we're going to do this." The Russians, we got this plan. That's what this whole thing with Ukraine is all about. This whole thing with Ukraine is all about foreign trade, and it's the United States way of cutting off Western Europe from doing business with Russia, particularly Russia and Germany. When Anthony Blinken, when he was writing his dissertation back in the 80s, he wrote a book called Ally versus Ally. You can find this book on Amazon. And he talked about, in the book, he said that the United States, when the Cold War is basically over with, the United States must move in and control the economics of Europe. Why? Because he has said, in essence, even if it means destroying Western Europe, that's why it says ally versus ally. Because if Russia continues to do business with Western Europe will become so strong that the United States won't be able to control it in the 21st century. It's a book called Ally versus Ally. I believe it was his PhD dissertation when he wrote that book. And the same man that wrote that book back in the 80s is one of the same people. Oh, by the way, he's part of those people that Kanye West talked about, and he's also was born in Ukraine.
There you go.
I just thought I'd add that. None of this stuff happens by accident. If you see it happening, I can guarantee you all this stuff is being planned.
You just have to go down the rabbit hole and see what's going on, But they're desperate, and you have to wonder who's with who, who's down with who secretly, who's desperate, and why. And there's just so much distraction out here. Again, I'm talking about the people overall. They are just, and I'm no better than anybody. I'm just speaking in regular talk. These people are so daggone dumb. Do I know all the answers? Do I have all the answers? No, I don't. But they're so dumb. Tracy J, your line is open. Jump on in when you're ready. I know
Okay.
you got a lot to say. Yeah, come on in.
Yeah. Okay. I was just listening to the clip, and what's always going to stand out to me is the cashless thing. And I know people that say, "Oh, it's going to be so convenient," blah blah blah. And I'm like looking at them like, okay, this is what they want you to think because they want you to see it as a good thing. My thing is when we go cash, like when we have nothing, when we have no way of buying anything except for through an app or a card, they're really going to have control then because to me that they're going to usher in AI much quicker that way when we go cashless. Because if they're already training AI to do some of our jobs, that they're going to wipe out the jobs with AI. I wish I knew where this video was, Lance. I'll send it to you. It was like a prediction of how many jobs we're going to lose between now and 2030 due to AI. And then a lot of people are talking about universal basic income because there's no jobs. I'm like, I don't want that either because if the government is going to just pay you to exist, can you imagine the stipulations that's going to be on getting that money every month? Like they're going to make you take, the jab. You're going to have to live. Yeah, you're going to have to live in a certain part of the neighborhood. You're only going to have access to certain food. Like I see this as a snowball effect for all of that. Like we definitely don't need to go cashless. We definitely need to have some type of control because once the government has full control, they're going to have control over they'll probably tell you who can have kids and who can't have kids. They'll probably say, okay, you can only have one child. You can't have a child. You can't have a job. You can only live in this part of the city. You can only eat this food. You can't have transportation. You can have I don't want to live that way. So my thing is, especially with this election, if I had to give advice, don't vote for nobody. And I know that sounds left field and that sounds crazy. Like, don't just vote for the third party and see what happens when we vote for the third party. Don't vote for a Democrat. Don't vote for a Republican. Just vote for the third party and see what happens then.
Leave everything alone.
Two things.
And let's go cashless and barter. Beat that system.
That's what I was about. That's what I was about to say.
And unity kills all of that. Go ahead, brother.
Right. Because I was going to say when you can barter, even if you have cash and you need some work to be done, you can still barter that cash for that person's labor. But if you don't even have the cash, then you're going to have to use some, I guess, Google Pay or whatever, Skynet Pay or whatever. The government can still monitor your transactions, where your money is going. Like in terms of if you went to the ATM machine, withdrew some money, and somebody did some work for you on your house, that would just be between you and that person who's doing the work. The government don't know where that money's going. They just know that you withdrew the money. But if you have a person do some work for you in a cashless society, they scan, I guess, your phone or whatever. You say, okay, you put their account number and it goes from your account to theirs. The government can track that transaction. And when you mentioned about the school, it's interesting. After all that, they determine who can have a child and who can't have a child. They turn around and say, we're going to give you LGBTQ education, gender studies, and you don't have to tell your parents.
And did you hear about the rage room? The rage room on that particular thing with Harley Davidson, where they had the gathering where they had the children in one room, but you can also go in the rage room. You know what that was all about? Because they had, I'm not sure if it was Canada or America or even Germany, where they had these daycares. I did the video, they took it down, so it must have been hitting hard. But they had rooms where you can relieve yourself as a child with other children sexually, touching each other, masturbating, and having sex. And it's a room where anything goes as long as you're not hurting anybody. What kind of mess is this?
Hey, it's that reprobate mind.
Kids don't think of stuff like that.
I know it's not funny. But it's that mind. It's like a person. It's like a person who they may have started out drinking, like a cigarette, then they drink, and then you may use marijuana. And they get to a point where they say, this is not good anymore. It's not enough. I need to go use some crack. I got to use some heroin. No defense. Not attacking nobody who has those issues. But it's like that reprobate mind that it's not enough anymore. I need more and more. That dopamine rush. It's just not like what it used to be. And it's that corruption when you open the flood doors of that corruption. And these are people. That's how corrupted they are. They are just so corrupt. It's the corruption. The
And they're the
floodgates
ones
of
that want that
corruption.
run. The kids don't know nothing about that.
No,
Like I
they're
said,
innocent.
the only way to beat the cashless society is to barter. But we're too hooked on this system and the so-called conveniences that are killing us. We go into the supermarket and we can pick something off the shelf. We don't care what it is because it looks good, and we're not getting any nutrition from it. I mean, we're being killed off in so many different ways. In every area of life, we're being killed off, and people don't want to face that because of these conveniences. This is like I told my friend earlier. If you live in the concrete jungle, nothing but tall buildings, apartments and apartments and apartments, and something jump off, where are you going to get your food? You're going to grow it by that little tree that has a little opening in the dirt that's so dead that the dog goes over there and pisses on it every day. You can't grow nothing there. We got to be able to take care of our own selves. We're losing the ability to take care of our own selves because of our dependence on this artificial system, and we don't see it. And we're being lured into it more and more and more. The phones, being able to pay. Look, people say, well, Lance, you on this thing all the time. And the day it goes off, I'm going to get my pencil and my pens and my drawing pad, go out on that balcony and just draw pictures and write with a pen on paper. Ain't hurting me none because that's what I know. That's my root. I know that kind of life. And if you got 2 mangoes and I got two pineapples, we can switch and barter. The system can't monitor that. But how many of us are going to go out there and dig up our food, go on some land that we got to pay for, unfortunately, but you got to pay to get out the system and leave it alone. In actuality, I would like to move deeper into Ghana or whatever other country I choose to live in also. Deeper, where you don't have no signals. Of course, satellites can see things and stuff, but deeper. I don't want your phone no more. I'll be out there, we have conversations on the back porch. I'll build a dope house and don't need nothing else in it. And be off the grid. People think I'm crazy. I'll do it. Look, I did this so far. You doubt me? I'm a madman. I see it and I'll live by it. I don't want them in my business. I don't want them in my refrigerator. I don't want them in my bedroom. I don't want them messing with my kids. No. Because it's never going to be right. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry for the rant.
No, I'll say, let the sister speak. She.
Oh no, I'm enjoying the conversation. Okay, I'm enjoying the conversation so much. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what Lance said. They don't need to be in our lives that much. They need to be, hands off. But we as a society has gotten so lazy to this point, and last Friday proved it, how lazy we were when the internet was out. I mean, I work on a hybrid schedule. I work in the banking industry, and I work on a hybrid schedule. Fridays, I'm working at home. I got 0 work done Friday. Because why? I didn't have internet. All of our systems were down. I mean, I had internet. I had my personal internet, but the systems that my company uses for me to do my job, I couldn't do anything at all.
Wow.
And that was a lot. That was many companies. That was a lot of companies across the board. Couldn't get no work done. Couldn't do anything. And so now this week we're playing catch up from what happened on Friday.
Wow. So imagine.
And these companies are getting hip too, because, like I was telling you earlier, Lance, these companies are trying to figure out a way to have less employees, and they're trying to use AI to do it. They're hiring these people in IT. They're hiring temporary workers that comes in the company, and they'll say, hey, can you tell me your process when you do this? Can you tell me how long it takes you to do this? Can you tell me, does it take you a day to do this, or 2 days to do this, or how many can you get done in an hour? They're asking you questions like that. And then
You're
they'll
hanging
come with
yourself.
you, and they'll come sit with you at your desk, and they'll see how you process certain things and how you program certain things. And next thing you know, you get in the meeting, they're like,
You're
"Hey,
gone.
we got this new we have this new program. You don't have to do this no more. You go work on something else." And the next thing you know, they are reducing your tasks little by little. And the next thing you know, 6 months later, you're down to doing two things. And now they're telling you, well, you know what? We got this position open and this position open. Oh, Lance, and I'm about to go into this, what I was about to tell you earlier. When they move you to another position, some companies have an unwritten policy that they're not going to pay you but so much when you are getting promoted. And this is what I mean by that. Let's say a position is on the company's website and it pays between $90,000 and $125,000. And let's say you as a worker work for your salary is like, let's say $70,000. That company has an unwritten policy that says, okay, we know that position is posted for 90 to 125, but we can only give you a certain percentage above your salary. So let's say you're gonna get 80,000. We can't give you no more than $10,000 whenever you get a raise with this company. Anything over 10,000 has to be approved by HR and upper management, the CEO. What that means is someone that's coming into your company, they could get that 90 to 125,000. They're only gonna give you 80,000.
And more than likely, it's going to be their best friend.
Right.
Some nepotism type stuff.
Yeah. So companies are not only, like I said, not only are they eliminating employees, but they're trying to figure out how to pay you less money. Even if you move to another position, even when getting promoted, they're still trying to figure out how to pay you less money. And they're doing it all across the board. When I go to McDonald's, I see a kiosk. I don't see nobody sitting behind a register. I see a kiosk. I just went to the grocery store the other day. They only have 2 cashiers. Everything else is a self-checkout. I just was in the grocery store the other day. They only have 2 cashiers, and everything else is a self-checkout.
Can I say something? Can I say something about that, sister? Hold on. I just want to add to that, because where I am here in the Midwest, Walmart, one of the local Walmarts, this is one of those neighborhood like Walmarts, not the big superstores. They decided they got rid of all the cashiers. Like when they went in before the pandemic, they had like the aisles and they had the cashiers and everything. And then all of a sudden they had a bright idea. They said, we're going to keep, instead of having like maybe 10 aisles, we're only going to keep 2 or 3, and we're going to have the rest all self-checkouts. Now, that was working fine as long as people do what they're supposed to do in terms of they come in, they scan the items, all the items, and they pay. But we had a situation where people, you could see them, they would grab the item, act like they look like they scanned it, and they would drop it in the bag because Walmart wanted to save money. So what did Walmart do after they lost all this money? Then they had to redo the store all over again, and they had to bring back the aisles, and now they only have 3 self-checkouts. And even when they do that, they still have to have somebody there standing there to watch the person do the self-checkout. So they thought they were going to save all this money with these self-checkouts, and they end up losing money.
But like I said earlier, Tracy, AI doesn't get sick. AI doesn't have babies and need time off. AI doesn't come in late. AI doesn't trip and slip on the wet floor and want to sue the company. AI doesn't come in and want to shoot up the company. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to get insurance to cover AI for anything. AI is there 24/7, 24/7. It's not like AI gets a little break, like, okay, there's a different AI coming in to take over your shift. AI will work and never complain 24/7 and do everything quicker with no attitude. AI doesn't have any race. For some white person to say, well, I don't like that black person, the black person say, oh, I think that person's racist, oh, this and this and that. There's no language barriers. And everything you know in your whole career, once fed into AI, it will do flawlessly. So this is why they're trying to get us out of there. But the thing is, leave them flat. Leave. Go out. I'm not saying leave the country, but hey, Leave the country. Go if you can. Go leave the system. What they gonna do? Who they gonna sell to? Abandon these places en masse. Let the system fall. But we so hooked on their stuff, we can't leave it alone. We never can say goodbye. No, 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 no. And I am telling you, I'm not going. You're the best thing I ever had. I ain't got no girlfriend, but I'm on Pornhub. No, 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 no way. I'm stroking without
they
you.
coming out. Did you hear about they got now AI girlfriends?
I was talking, I sent that last year. I don't know if you saw Lancescurv, so I sent him 2 videos last year. You could program, you could make your own AI girlfriend or boyfriend. Yes.
No, but I'm gonna tell you one better than that. Okay, we know about that, but I did a show maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, about Toronto, where they have the dolls, the whorehouses, the realistic dolls where everything is warm and moist, and I won't go no further. Everything is willing to do, and these men pay, and they can have their way with these gorgeous dolls that are made so perfect that don't complain about anything, and the men don't have to have any shame on what desires they want to execute, because, you know, they shy with their wives. So they go in there and do all they want. But then I was thinking to myself, do these men say, well, I made a little mess here, let me clean it up? No, they leave it. They probably tell them, just when you're done, just leave. And you know what? I feel that's a way for them to collect DNA. I feel that this AI is a way of us putting our human mold or our human hand in this mold so they can copy it. If you notice with AI generated photographs, they really can't get the hands right. They ain't that good yet. Putting on 7 fingers, and I noticed these things, right? But the faces, there was a girl on Snapchat one time. I don't even push that I'm on Snapchat. I'm on there, but I'm not really on there. I'm just everywhere where people can find me. And this woman came on there. I don't even know if she was real. Hi, handsome. Now, I'm like, there are links to my site and other social media platforms. I don't know what I look like anymore. I'm not 18 years old like I used to be. But she told me, hi, handsome. Oh, can I get a picture of you so I can see what you look like? Well, you just called me handsome. What were you calling what were you saying was handsome? You know what I mean? And she kept pressuring me for a photo or several photos of me. And so I said, why are you bugging me? Because, you know, people come with their requests and stuff. I said, well, send me a photo of you. Never did it, because this was a bot. And that's another thing. We don't realize how we're interacting with things that are not even real. There was a study done, and it wasn't where they said, I couldn't get the exact number, but they said that probably a third of what we chat with, people who we don't know, are bots. And the number was much higher. It was like 40-something%. Just on the open internet and random chat rooms and going to people's shows, you got bots that are there, bots everywhere. And just like when you go onto a site and they say, well, can I help you? Whatever. And you think you're talking to a real person and you give them a real inquiry and they throw links at you, that's not real. That's a bot, because a real person would talk to you. And I'm like, listen, I want to talk to a real person, but have you found this to be helpful, whatever? Look, I need someone to tell me what to do. I'm smart enough. If I'm asking, that means I really want to know. But it's a lot of bots out here. On my website, I have to block certain countries where lots of bots come through. You know, they have this Czechostan and Foreign Scan and LBGT Scan, you know, all these different countries around the Ukraine and Russia and all this stuff, where they try to blame Nigeria and Ghana for all these hackers. A lot of the hackers come from them white countries. And there's a lot of bots that are put out there to infect websites, to gather information. We don't know what's up. So you really have to be careful. I had my laptop cleaned off after it was hacked. It's still starting to act up now. It froze up. I couldn't even cut it off. The mouse wouldn't even work. And I paid money to get this thing cleaned off completely after it was infested, before my channel was taken down. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of mysterious things going on that we are vulnerable to. Before you go to bed, before you take your clothes off in your bedroom, you close those blinds unless you happen to be an exhibitionist, right? But we're open on or social media presence. We don't know. We're fast asleep. There are people who are looking at what we put out there. And yeah, I put everything out there. If you want to come get me, come get me. I'll give you something that you never wanted. But everybody's not like that. People are vulnerable. And our information is out there, and it's not hard to triangulate just from information alone. If I wanted to find out about somebody, there were sites and IP addresses, but I can just go on what you give me. And I'm not even like that. I try to tell people, you're wide open for a regular kook with a halfway bit of sense. A government that can go in, and after 9/11 of the Patriot Act, where they can go in on your stuff, we have no privacy. You might as well go out in the street and pull your butt cheeks out and pull them apart and say, count the hairs, baby, because that's the, we don't have, our TVs are watching us, our phones are listening to us, and we're giving the information. The same people back today, I don't want to, I ain't putting no information out there. I want my privacy. And 5 years later, you got the duck mouth and spread eagle with one butt cheek on the sink in a nasty bathroom, and you telling all your business. Get out of here.
And I wouldn't even trust videos online because now AI has the ability to come on screen and appear as a real person, and it's not a person. So I wouldn't even trust that. I would just say meet the person in person. Just don't even trust the video now.
And even they might have one of those masks on. The ones that they're advertising now. Yep. I'm gonna drop the link for whoever wants to come on in also. There was a person named RW that came on and they dropped off. Their line was open. So just, come on in. But yeah. I mean,
what do you guys
it's sucking
think about,
from us, man.
I want to pose a question. What do you guys think about UBI? And that stands for Universal Basic Income. Do you actually see the government giving people money because they just can't get a job? How do you guys feel about that?
You want to go first? I'll go first. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say just briefly, I would say whatever the government is doing, the first question got to be asked, why are they doing it? And what do they expect the outcome to be after they do it? I just think that just creating a society where they have more people under control, because the more you work from your own efforts, the more independent thought and freedom that you have. But if you can determine what people get, when they get it, how they spend it, then it's just a new form of 21st century slavery. It's slavery all over again. They don't have to stand over people with a whip and a chain. They just use the Skynet technology. And then you got these people who got these cameras in their house, and what's it? Was it Siri? What is that? What time is it?
Siri and Alexa. Siri and Alexa.
And Alexa. So then people saying, can you turn the air condition down? Oh, I'm on my way home. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Could you turn the air condition on? I'm like, I've never seen people so dependent on this technology. I mean, I know we have to use it. We're using it to communicate with each other. I just think there's a limit in everything. But to go back to your original question, I think it's a form of control. It's to control people, what they're doing, who they're doing it with, how long did they do it, who was there. Did you know that Zuckerberg, he's a agent for the CIA? I got a video of him getting an award from the head of the CIA, saying, "Hey man, you did a great job." You can't make this stuff up.
That is scary.
Yeah, he got an award because this technology. Think about this. People go on vacation, and they say, "Look, we're in Spain, we're in Madrid." And they're taking pictures and everything with their family members. The government is building a dossier up on people. So when they go back to the States, they say, yes, it's been brought to our attention that you were in Spain for 2 weeks. No, not me. Well, this is your Facebook page. This is you in the picture. It says it was taken in this location. We have your name. We have your address. We have your date of birth. So we have all your information. It's just like people just going out and just giving information away. And what are they going to say? It's not them. Isn't your name so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so? Don't you live at so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so? Don't you work at so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so? Isn't so-and-so, so your parents? Isn't so-and-so your brother, your sister? Isn't this your aunt, your uncle, your nieces, your nephew? They got all the information. And people have this attitude, well, the government already know. Yeah, but there's a difference between them knowing or them got to go get the information and you giving them the information. When I get home, I would rather get home and turn on my own air conditioning. Just flip the switch,
right.
turn it on.
Thank you.
Are they going to go to the bathroom and say, Siri, wipe my backside? It's going to get to that point.
Siri,
I'm not going to finish the sentence. I'm just going to say, Siri and Alexa, I want you both over here in the bed with me because I'm feeling kind of horny. What they going to do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the girl,
But let me answer that question
remember
on
the movie with Bruce Willis? Remember the movie with Bruce Willis, the surrogates?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Remember that movie?
Yes, I do remember that movie. No one had their real body. Everybody had a surrogate, and it was like when they did go out, everybody was overweight, fat, old, bald. No one took care of them. They were just living. I'm serious. They were just living their lives through these surrogates. So yes, I remember that.
Yeah. A society full of surrogates.
Let me give a different take on that universal basic income thing. See, humans. So you got to think of it this way. It's not just the leaders that's going to get to go into the bunkers and they have their way and they have shopping malls and nightclubs and, underground. They'll get their reward from these demonic entities who are part of the shadow government. Like they say, they want to get rid of 80% of the population. This is like the meat tenderizer, the UBI, because it's going to help you to live on a lower level. You have just enough. It's going to be just enough. It's not going to be where we're giving you money to live large or whatever have you. It's going to be barely just enough. And then you'll be able to know that, well, I can indulge in all of the lower vibrational activities I want, because when they give you that money, you best believe they're going to give you a form of the internet that is so tainted with lower vibrational stuff. You have nothing else to do except get into fights, have sex and all kind, just drunk. They'll allow you to get all the bad things because we'll rule ourselves out. It'll be an open fence way of having us on reservations like they have the American Indians, the Native Americans, right? So we'll be out here doing all, because we have no ambition. Our basic needs are taken care of, and we know it's coming. And so for those who have a broken spirit and give up, that'll be just enough, because now we can hang around and talk all day. We can stay on the corner all day. We can do this. And that's where they want you. They don't want you to challenge them, because you're giving them something and they're going to feel like, well, I'm getting this. At least I'm getting, times are bad, because see, the rough times that are coming up, it's going to break a lot of spirits. And it's the worst thing that you can see when you see a grown man and a grown woman that their spirit is broken, that their ambition is not there. Well, you don't see the passion. No, man, I'm going to hold on to that. You ain't never going to see Lancescurv. Hey, Lance, what's going on today? I don't know, man. Well, Lance, you ain't doing a show in 3 months. Yeah, I know, but it's hard out here, man. Oh, hell no. I'm gonna be a crazy old man. No way. They gonna take my life force.
We don't want to see you and say, oh man, Lance, what's up? Oh man, Siri and Alexa, man.
No. If you see that,
they wearing me out, man.
If you see that, it's AI. They're trying to trick you, because I'm somewhere raising hell. Yes, I am. No way. I'm going out kicking and scratching, writing, drawing, talking. No way. I'm sitting there complacent like that. And that's a way to get us that way. And they've studied human nature. And I'm telling you, I'm not saying it's higher than us, but at the highest level of this wicked stuff, it's not human. This is why they're trying to learn humans and get you to take pictures and show yourself, and sexuality confuses them. That's why they have no problem pushing all of this trans stuff and bestiality. It's a game for them because they're titillated by that. These are things, to me, and this is my basic opinion, not just UBI is the lowest end of it through the people who are in the government, but the government done got with somebody, man. When CERN opened up and the worlds were ripped apart, where the evil came into the world even more, and the membrane was broken. And this is, to me, this is where AI came from, man. It didn't come from this world, where you can ask a prompt and it tells you an article. You ask for artwork and it gives it to you like that,
but it gives it to you in a flawed way where you can't feel the passion. This is why I say anybody online that's creating, always speak about your experiences. AI can't tell you about your life, how you feel, and your experience. It can emulate that to a point generically, but it can't tell me when I was jumping out that window at that lady's house when the married man, when the husband came home. They can't tell you about that. They can repeat it. And I did a search on AI a long time ago when it first came out. And it said Lancescurv is a podcaster, blogger, got it all right. Told me I lived in Boston. I've been through Boston a couple times. I wasn't even there long enough to take a leak. So how am I from Boston? So things can get crossed up, but they will steal your identity. And the thing that concerns me is that if they really want you for being the truth teller that you are, they will create somebody raping somebody and showing the videotape of robbing the bank, saying you did it by public opinion. Oh yeah, that's Lance's voice. They can take your voice and replicate it. That's why tonight maybe we weren't seeing the real Joe Biden. They're taking the voice. Tracy J, here you go. You're back in. Yeah, they can take your voice, take your identity, take it and replicate it, put it back out to you, and we're gullible. Oh yeah, I heard Lance saying this, and I heard Brother Bo saying this, and Tracy J saying this. They already got those things already, you know. But it's not. They're not human. They're not human. This thing is not human. Where did AI come from for real? Where did it come from?
Hey Lance. And I'll say this to you and all the listeners. If you hear me come on YouTube and I'll be like, hey, black people, what are you all complaining about? You know Joe Biden is a good old man. And Kamala Harris, she's like your auntie. You know, why y'all complaining? Y'all need to get by. Come on now, let's get on the ball. Come on now. You hear me talking like that, you know that's AI.
Right.
That's AI all the way.
You hear me coming on the assistant side. Oh, I have an announcement to make. My name is not Lance anymore. It's Lance sometime. And either I'll be kicking or scratching somewhere or punching somebody else, or they might have just killed me. I ain't going out like
that. Remember that episode of The Twilight Zone when they kept telling the girl to get the operation, and she kept telling them, she said, no, I'm my father, her father had passed away, and she said, people should be individuals. I want to be me. I want to express myself. I want to be what, basically what God made me to be, per se. She didn't use God, but you see what I'm saying? And they just pushed her, and everybody looked the same. Everybody, like the actor that played her uncle looked the same, like the guy that did the surgery. They just had different names and everything. And she had two choices to pick, the older woman or the younger woman. I think it says number 8 or number 12 looks like you or something like that. And in the end, they forced her to get the operation. And then after she got it, she looked like the girl, her friend, and she was just all happy and jolly and pleased. Say, oh, she said, and the most beautiful thing, Val, I look just like you. No originality.
Well,
just like we did the bodybuilding show. Yeah, no originality.
That's what they want.
Her whole identity had just been sucked away.
Right. It used to be where back in the 70s, when you went to a party, you got off on the fact that you had a nice outfit that was unique, your haircut was unique. I saw women that would show up to the same party with the same dress, and one of them didn't get mad at the other woman, but she left and changed her outfit. Now we're trying to all be the same or lack individuality. We don't really get into the uniqueness of ourselves anymore. We have different faces, different fingerprints, different personalities. Even twins are not the same. So why is it that we want to blend in? Is it easier now? Is it they put these so-called celebrities and stars out there, and everybody wants to copy them? Now it was like that back then, but we wanted to copy them and put our own little unique flair in the bad boy. You know what I mean? But now you can't tell the difference. Women are disfiguring their bodies for what? They figure that men would desire them more. They ain't desiring them more. I mean, the trans people, the hetero women, BBLs and the lips and everybody want to be something other than what they are. Nobody appreciates themselves in their original form. If you want to get in shape, get in shape. Do it the challenging way that lasts. Hell, my last time in the gym was in 1985. I'm still strong as a horse because I did it the right way. You know, the thing is this, I just don't understand it. Can't see the logic. The sense has gone out. And we have Queen Nefertiti coming on in, and I welcome you, Queen Nefertiti. I know you got some bombs to drop. Let me run for the bomb shelter.
How you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
Hi, my dear sister. How are you?
Oh, good. I just wanted to piggyback on what y'all are saying, because as I'm listening, I'm making a list of all the areas that they have infiltrated. Thank you, Lance, for giving this topic, because although it's scary, I think it's important that we do know what's happening and then we come up with a plan. But we can't come up with a plan if we don't know what's happening. And so many of us, like everybody's saying, are asleep. You know, like I see 30-some people here or 40, but it should be like 4,000 because so many people are tuning into the wrong thing, and we need to know how to, you know, get together. But the Bible says, whether you're a believer or not, many are called, few are chosen. And the gates to heaven, whatever that heaven is, whether it's a physical heaven or just truth, is narrow. It's narrow. So we don't have to be discouraged if one channel has 1 million people and one channel has 10 people, but those 10 people is on that narrow road. So I just want to encourage us who are here, continue to be here, continue to stay here, continue to grow, and try to grow this truth station. And so I wanted to just kind of list off all the areas as y'all were talking that they've infiltrated.
Yes, share it.
Yeah. So we are not, this is nothing we don't know, but hearing it as a whole list: water, food, air, healthcare, housing, our power source, communications, family and relationships, land and farming, money and currency, art, music, movies, all of these. There's more, but those are the ones I wanted to name. And then I wanted to just kind of, so our water supply, we know you can't live without water. They're already trying to, you just played that video. They're trying to, since quote, the C word didn't work, the pan thing didn't work. Now they want to hit the water supply, because you can say, oh, I don't want to get a shot, but you can't say, I don't want to drink water. And if the water's tainted, if the water's poisoned, our food supply, we already know what's happening with that, with the GMO, with everything. And Lance, you know, I get jealous when you sometimes on the show talk about all your good food in Ghana, because we out here and I shop. The prices out here for organic, and it's not even really organic. It don't even taste like food, but so they F with the food supply. So the first two is the water and food supply. We can't do nothing without that. And the third one is air, water, food, and air. We can't, those three, and we know what's happening with air. I don't even know if we can say his name on air. BG is messing with all three of those. How's a tech guy messing with water, food, and air? Those are just the first three. And then this same guy is also, and then other organizations, our healthcare, forced shots, medicines, pharmaceuticals, all that. We know that, and every time we find out or it goes viral that something from God or from the earth helps you, they try to ban it. They try to turn it around. Even marijuana. I've never been a marijuana smoker, but when marijuana was natural, they banned it. But then when they realized they could GMO it and poison it, now it's legal. And then housing, they got now housing everywhere is out of control. And then they're trying to build these little, I don't know if anybody has heard of these little tiny houses. They're like 90 square feet. And that's supposed to be sexy. And you'll see all these in the Google ads. They're adding up because they want these to be in these little 15-minute smart cities. And these 15-minute smart cities, I don't know if the viewers have looked it up. Look up 15-minute smart cities. They're trying to make it sexy. They're trying to say it's climate change, but they're the ones who are messing with the climate. Even 30, 40 years ago, they had the ability to make rain, create earthquakes. What do you think they have now? Our housing, our power source, our electricity. They're trying to move us from gas because at least that's, you can have some independence with that, and they're using the climate thing. But then the electric cars, I don't know about y'all, but all my people that I know with electric cars, they're like, oh, I gotta go charge for an hour. They gotta go find somewhere, places. It's crazy, and they're pushing towards. But even in our house, if the grid goes down, the electricity goes down like it did recently. Which next one is communications. Before, at least we had telephones, or we had other other forms of communication of what we could do, even if a phone line could go down, not like the internet. So even if you have an office line or a landline, all of those are digital. There's no more landlines anymore. Even if it's not a cell phone, it's actually digital. So when they flip the switch, everything's going off, including your so-called landline if you have one, or your office phone.
Yep.
And then our cell phone, all those are connected to the towers. They just switch it off. It's off. And then the sister said that at work, so the Gmail was working, but the systems weren't working. The banks had shut down. Wherever this grid was affected, the banks have shut down. The airport, people couldn't get out for 48 hours. This was a test run, and we see that just one flip of it, everything went chaotic if you were in that. But see, they only do like 2% of the population being affected to say, let's try it. And then, so all our communications is controlled already by them. Now let's go to family and relationships. Those are all messed up because our best, I'm saying it facetiously, our best relationships are on social media. Friends that we never even met before. And then after the quote pandemic, with the lockdowns, we don't go to work anymore that much, like as far as physical, and with the AI taking over. So now we're separated from family, friends, community. And then with all this crap going on with the politics and the fighting, it's like, and gay, straight, this and that. So everybody's divided, which means family and relationships. So now we're all stuck out here in our islands of terror and of stress and of trauma and chaos, but we're not together like every other time in history. Even when revolutions happen, including the most nearest one in the 60s, the civil rights, which is our most nearest big revolution, at least people were together so they could talk, and they didn't even need a phone. You just go in the neighborhood and say, hey, meeting at 5 o'clock. Everybody's doing this. And, we get this momentum. But even us on a channel like this, they just shut you off. Lance, I remember you had hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And then they shut you off, and now people can't find you. So family and relationships, I'm almost done back. Land and farming. We already know. I just saw an article today. The bees, that it was Bill Gates and somebody else was killing the bees on purpose, like all these bees. And we already knew, this was today that it came out. And they're killing the cattle. They're killing the livestock. They're killing the chicken. They're killing the poultry, which is the poultry. All those things. And GMO crops. And then not only are they doing the GMO crops, Bill Gates is the biggest landowner in the United States. And once they poison the land cannot be used for hundreds and hundreds of years, if ever. So in our lifetime, once that land is messed up, it's gone. That's not even the housing. That's the land itself for farmers. Farmers are, I don't know if we know, farmers are mass suiciding, which they're keeping out of the mainstream media because they give them loans where they can't pay back, and then they're destroying their crops. So they don't have the crops, they owe this money, and they kill themselves. And so they're buying up all this, messing up all this land, the money and the currency. We already know about that. Everything's going digital. They want us to go digital because we can't barter, we can't trade. And Lance, you said something about trading, but if we can't grow our own food, we can't trade and barter.
We can't trade. You're right.
We don't have our own cattle. We can't do that. And now they want us to eat bugs. They don't want us to have cattle. So they're making lab meat. We know that. That's a fact. Lab meat, insects, bugs. None of this is conspiracy theory. Like, this is all out of their mouth. And then finally on the list, which is much bigger, but still, is arts, music, and movies. This is how they started to infiltrate us from the very beginning. Our art, music, and movies. And as African Americans, music and movies is our number one. In sports is what we get.
Right.
But music and movies, this all started a long time ago. So Lance, that tragic clip that you showed of that thing that came to the woman, I'm gonna call it a thing because I don't know what it is. First I felt angry and I said, what a mental case. But then I said, wait a minute, not really. It is a mental case. But I said, this person is not just a mental case because they were born a mental case. This is from at least 50, 60 years of programming of a whole society, not just programming music and movies, but the food. And Lance, I heard on one of your channels, you talked about this before, how they were, that there's this, I forgot the name of the pesticide, but it turns male frogs to females, and aristrazine or something. It's in all our food. It's in all our food. So they're not
atrazine.
Yes,
atrazine.
So it wasn't just the movies and the music that's hitting you on this side. Then the food we're eating and the water, and they're putting the fluoride for your third eye. So you can't have that. So that's calcified. So we got all these heavy metals. The music and the movies is telling, because I remember I'm of a certain age. I ain't as old as you, Lance, but I'm of a certain age. I am of a certain age where I remember the tail end.
You're a young girl.
In music, we had slow songs. Every song was like, I want to hold your hand, or if it was a song about sex, it was very coded. So no, you can't know. I remember they had Pussycat theaters, and there were actual theaters that people paid in to go to. And I remember they had the section in the stores, like the adult section for grown up, Pussycat section. And people should have a right to porn or whatever they want. That's not the issue. It should be separated from children and society, and it should be its own, like the way they have rated R or rated X, like that should be its own thing that's not accessible to children or anywhere. And so when they started messing up the movies and the music, when they went over to hip hop, and hip hop was now all about bitches, hoes, and killing each other and drugs, it wasn't just that they brought that in, they took the other out. Because back in the day when they used to have the Pussycat theater, they have the regular theater, just as an example. So you have the regular theater, the Pussycat. But when they swap the music and the movies, there is no more. You don't get to, it's like if they just had all Pussycat theaters and no regular theaters. That's what they did with the music. All black music, no more slow songs, no more groups, like even groups where, you know, Boys to Men, and that was like the last trail of things. There's no more of that. It's just over sexualized. And of course, the first level, and I'm wrapping up. The first level
Take your time.
The first level was sexualization, heterosexualization, women, bitches, and hoes, and prostitution culture. And then that wasn't enough. So now we know what culture we're in now. We're in a whole transhumanism. Forget transsexual. This ain't about sexuality that they're doing this. This is about transhumanism, because that transcends any kind of sexuality at all. They're just using this because they have to bring it to society in a ladder, because we're really sheep. We're literally sheep. So you have to go step by step. And they're literally saying we got to take these dumb people in steps. So they're taking us in all these steps, and we're just taking a step right on the cliff. And so our movies and music, now they own everything. We don't even have theaters anymore for the most part, unless it's a big, huge. When's the last time? I ain't been to the movies. I don't know when. When is the last time you lie there in your bed on your phone or watch your smart TV and or whatever and scroll through Netflix and chill? So there's no more going out. There's no dating. There's no courtships. Everything is just so, as grim as that sounds, we had to get all that out to say, you know, spirituality is something that we can do, and unifying is something that we can do, and supporting channels like yours, Lance. And I will give you a donation today. I just want to say that.
Your very presence is a donation. Just all that you said, you taught. I just want to add something, and that might
be looked at a little comical. I was so traumatized by my encounter with that sign back in 1977 that said NAMBLA. Now, when you mentioned that singing group and came out in the 90s, I had to make sure that Boys to Men wasn't a pedophile singing group.
Are you serious?
Hey, it triggered me. I'm like, Boys to Men? What are you talking about, Boys to Men? I thought that was a NAMBLA sponsored situation there.
So your mind went back.
Yeah.
Back to the 70s.
We belong together. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You know, I would like first. Let me say this real quick, Lance. I'd like to thank Sister for what she said. She so eloquently lined it up and gave an excellent explanation.
Yes, she did.
Explaining each one. That's beautiful. I would like to add to that list education, because that's another area that they infiltrated.
How could I have missed that? But all this list just came up because you're talking on the show with him, and that's where so it was just impromptu. But oh my God, education is hello. You just mentioned about the California passing that law. Education.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really an area that they have infiltrated.
I'll just chime in and say this with the whole slavery thing. 50 years from let's say 50, 75 years from now, will slavery still exist in our history books?
They're going to take it out. And Muhammad Ali is going to be a white man 300 years from now.
and Dr. King. And Dr. King.
Marcus Garvey is going to be a European.
Yeah. Cat Calloway, Billie Holiday, Lena Horne, all they're going to be white. They're going to be white people.
And the Knicks and the Mets and all the sports teams are going to be trans people, according to history.
Yeah, Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson.
Michelle Jordan.
And I saw a show too. They were talking about, they were listing all the celebrities that have trans
kids.
Like all of them. All of them. All of them. So that
Trans Europe Express.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Remember the rapper Nas from the 90s?
Yeah, from Queensbridge Projects in Queens.
Yes. It broke my heart that Nas' ex is his son. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Wait.
What? Are you sure?
Say it again.
Nas, Nas from
Are you sure?
From like I think his son is
I didn't hear that.
Nas is the straight dude that was rapping back in the 90s.
Yes.
Classic. So wait, Nas' ex got some kind of relation to him?
I thought that was his son or something. Yeah.
I gotta check that out.
Look at Magic Johnson. Look at Magic Johnson's son.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade, what is it? Dwayne Wade's son? Yeah, his son is a woman now.
And he's supporting it, and they're all supporting it. Like this is some kind of accomplishment to chop off your God-given genitalia, your identity, your essence, who you are. There are spiritual repercussions for this thing to happen. It's not just a surface thing. And for you to want to go through it, there's something already is messed up. But when you go through this thing, you can't come back. It's like going ice skating on a lake where the ice is thin, and you fall in a hole, but you're trying to go up again. You're never going to find the hole. You're swimming off to the side and you'll drown. You're never going to find yourself again. You can't do that and come back to normalcy. You cannot do it. Once you make that leap, you through. I don't care how many people applaud you and say you did the right thing in the midnight hour. And most of the time they say that when you do that, later on, when you get up to, the young ones will do it, even the old ones. But a couple of years go by and you're like, oh my God, I don't want this. I want a normal life. You know what I mean? And you ain't gonna have it. This thing is a big push, fad. I don't know what you want to call it. But half the people, there was a dude who rode my bus, and used to work in the restaurant, so they had all black. I think it was like a chef or something like that. And I started noticing, wait a second, this dude don't look like a dude no more. And started looking like a woman. It was a loose outfit. I noticed breasts. Wasn't looking for them, but and then one day they came in on the bus on their day off. And they had a dress. They were a woman and everything. I used to have this trans stalker. I never talked about it. Not that I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah, this tall white man, but they already went through going through the hormone stuff. You can tell this already. But they were psychotic. And they would sit there and try to get the front seat and just stare at me. And I would ignore it. And they wanted attention. And there were always like people that would ride with me. And there was always these girls that kind of liked me from online. But they never tried me that way. But they kind of liked me. They would always, can I ride around a couple trips with you? Yeah, you can ride with me. Of course. I got this 6'3", 6'4", big white, big hands too, big feet. I'd have to reach and knock this thing out. And if I did, I'd lose my job. And then one night, there was this lesbian who used to ride with me all the time. She was mad cool. Used to tell all kind of crazy jokes and stuff. And that thing was mad every time they would see this chick. I forgot her name. She was real cool though. And she was mad. And the last time I saw this thing, right, the lesbian told me, you know, they were writing something down on a piece of paper and was standing near you like they wanted to hand you their number. For what? What you gonna hand me your number for? You think I'm gonna call you for what? But this thing rode around for about a year and a half. I would say 4 days out of my 5 days working. It would ride around maybe 2 or 3 trips, because in Orlando you can do that. You can stay on the bus. And I ignored it, and it was annoying. And they would just get there and stare. And then one night they got me good, because I had this other bus route that I was doing on the weekend when I work on the weekends, and it had a layover for about 30 minutes. And this thing got on the bus. It was pouring down rain, and I didn't even have no umbrella. This thing got on the bus, and where the end of the route was, where the layover was, it was a really desolate area. I didn't have an umbrella, but I got wet that day because I walked and stood out in the rain under a tree. I said, I'd rather be wet than sit up and be quiet on the bus with this thing with nobody else on the bus. Oh, heck no.
Wow.
Never said nothing, just staring.
Maybe he
And
liked
you never
dark
know.
meat.
There's this one dude got on my bus, just to talk about that, right? It was on the 8 route that goes down International Drive, then the tourist route, but it went at some part it goes to the hood, one of the hoods out there, Texas Avenue and Americana. People in Orlando will know the 8 route. This dude, white dude, drunk out his mind. Like, you knew this dude was up all night drinking. And so, you know, you wear shorts. You can wear long pants or shorts. I would always wear shorts. And sometimes the shorts would go a little higher on your leg, not like obscenely high, but because, you know, my background in bodybuilding, my thighs are a little more developed than most people. And so this dude got on, oh my God, are you gay? I mean, like, out of nowhere, how are you gonna, because you want me to be gay, you gonna yell it out like that? And he was drunk. Are you gay? Looking all down at my legs. Are you gay? I had another one that would swipe his card and throw the card down between my legs and try to go down there and reach it. He done tasted my elbow many a day. I'm like, yo, I'll get this for you, man. I put my elbow right up there. It's just, and they fixate. And like, it don't matter. It's not just me. Look, women go through it too. You get the guys that fixate on you. They know you're not interested in them, but they want to keep finding themselves up in your face. So these gay dudes made me feel like that chick in a mini skirt walking down past a construction site getting whistled at. I'm like, that's not a good feeling at all, especially with their little rules and laws now. You got to tolerate stuff and whatnot, but don't put your hands on me. That's going to be, you know what I mean? No way.
They're also considered straight women now. So like they'll probably be on dating sites too.
Oh, you know, God, man.
I'm serious. They're considered. They consider themselves straight women, like the same as me and the other lady on the line. They consider themselves women. So they're like, if a man dates me, he's not gay because he's dating a straight woman. So that's what I've heard.
Well, you know, the guy Fleece Johnson, that's always online, the one who the booty bandit that they had the cartoon about, and he was in jail.
Damn.
Yo, yeah, that's what he calls himself. And yo, check this out. I gotta post this photo. I think I'm gonna go down in that area of the city. But there's a poster, there's a billboard for prostrate examinations, and some joker took Fleece Johnson's picture here in Ghana and put it up there for the and it's him smiling. I'm like, look at this. I know he would love to do prostrate examinations on men, but I meant to say this. He has a clip now recently, and the interviewer was asking him, now that you're out and you're with a woman, how do you feel about the way you used to live, and do you still have a taste for that stuff? And he basically said, he got that funny voice, man, you know. And it shocked me. As much as he was into that stuff, he said, I got to tell you, I went to prison young. I ain't have no experience, so, you know, that's how it came out. When I got out and got with my woman, I'm going to tell you, and all the homosexuals out there, there ain't nothing like a woman. I was like, whoa, you go ahead, brother. Tell it. So I know all the homosexual men going to be mad at him. He said, let me tell you something. I didn't get what it was I was looking for, messing with some man. It was just a physical thing, friction, whatever. But the essence and the soul of a woman, especially a sister, oh man, if I had a taste of that before I got locked up, I would have never did what I, you know what I mean? I'm like, but I'm glad he said that, coming from him. I don't trust him, no.
You wouldn't trust him on the bus, right?
No, I wouldn't fall asleep in front of that brother. I'd be confused, like, do I sleep on my stomach or do I sleep on my back? No, I'm staying up all night.
Just to pull it back in, just to say, like, because there's been gay people since the beginning of time, right? That's not, there's been, it's called aberrations or just something, you know, there's people born blind, there's people. So it's not even about that. It's about the forced push, the agenda, what the big global agenda is to do this, to push people with all those things that were listed in every and how the brother, I forgot your name, mentioned education. So, yes, education, which now that's your kids, that's your babies. Off the topic, I don't know, Lance, if y'all ever heard of Mr. Beast. Is Mr. Beast the top YouTuber? Have y'all ever heard of him?
700 million a year he makes.
What's the name again?
Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast.
He's the top YouTuber in the world. He makes $500,000 to $700,000 a year, almost $1 billion.
Right.
500
for
million.
Several years.
500 million. Almost $1 billion. And now they're like doing this investigation because his partner is found out that he was kids, pedo stuff, pedophile stuff. But and then I was listening to somewhere where they were talking about this story and saying they don't let people get that big. You don't get to be almost a billionaire class unless they let you in to some society, some secret thing or whatever.
That's
so
right.
I think for me, I don't know about everybody else, like spirituality is the only way, like teaming up spirituality, because I don't mean to sound, I guess, discouraged, but like I'm a working person. I can't just go off the grid. I can't move to Africa right now. I can't go grow my own farm. I can't get my own electricity. You know, those things are hard. So it's like, I think as a community, we try to come together to definitely spirituality, but unifying and educating. Even if you say no as a group, you have, like, if everybody had said no to these shots, we wouldn't even be where we are right now, because so many people gave in, that's why we lost. And every time they push us to do smart cities, Oh, and the sister asked, what about the universal income? That's only because they're trying to depopulate everything. And when they depopulate it and AI has all the jobs, the people, the select people that's going to still be here, according to their plan. We hope their plan fails, but according to their plan, which is Agenda 2030, everybody's talking about the 25 and they're being distracted. The 2030 is the real one. If anybody knows Agenda 2030, that's the real one, because that's the globalist agenda. That ain't got nothing to do with Democrat, Republican, nothing. That is the globalists who run everything. They are the ones who said by this time the population is going to be down because of certain medications, certain injections, certain foods, certain zaps, certain all kind of stuff that we don't even need to get into specifically. But if we're just walking around sleep, we definitely don't have a chance. But if we walk around awake, like this channel is trying to wake us up, you know, I think it's just a conversation we need to have. Like, what can we do? Can we all move in with you, Lance?
Can I say something briefly? I just wanted to comment, sister, on what you mentioned about the global elites. I do agree that there is a global elite, but when I look at the world and have studied like the position papers from like the Rand Corporation, I have mentioned Anthony Blinken's dissertation that he did back in the 80s. The way I see it, I see that it's like we have a Western world elite, meaning these are the people that Joe Biden and even to some degree Trump, who they work for. When you look at Russia, China, India, the BRICS nations, they have a different elite. They have their elites also. But you see this in the Western world. Let me clarify this. It's like the United States, Canada, Western Europe, Australia, Japan to some degree. Those G7 nations, they have their elites, and then everyone else is basically in a different group of elites. And what we see, this conflict going on right now in Ukraine, is a byproduct of these global elites clashing with each other, because Putin is a group that he represents, just like the president of China, and the group that Biden represents. These elites are clashing with each other. It's just that Ukraine is like the battleground. Back in the 1980s, Caspar Weinberger, when he was in the Reagan administration, he said in the future, we want a war with Russia, but we want it under the threshold of nuclear war. Why? Because they figured that once the Soviet Union would collapse, that would be the perfect time to run in and get all Russia's resources, to take Russia and partition it. And at the time, they thought they had Boris Yeltsin in their back pocket after the collapse of the Soviet Union in '91. But when Putin came in 2000, he arrested all those oligarchs. He says, no, you are not going to take this country and sell it off to the Western powers. And ever since then, the Western elites in America have been upset with Putin. And this conflict, they would have fought him on September 11th, but at that time, that was not the priority. The priority was Iraq, Afghanistan, those 7 nations that the neocons wanted to knock out at Syria, Libya, Iran at that time. But now we're in a time now that now the Western elites are now looking at Russia and China, because they've done what they can do in the Arab world, with the exception of North Korea. They have done what they've done. So now it's the elites of America versus the elites of like Russia and China.
So my question, I guess, would be, because I have studied Russia a little bit, and that Putin doesn't allow GMOs. He don't allow certain kind of air pollution, certain kind of water. Like, he's a purist. He don't go for the alphabet agenda. He ain't going for that.
Right, no pride, no pride parades, right?
Yeah, none of that. But he is doing that for his people, not for anybody else. And then my concern, I guess, question/concern, yes, it's that. But the West, when you say the West, they're the ones who control all of Africa. So for the most part, when I say all, maybe one or two, but they're controlled, the military bases, the supplies, the oil, all the resources, they're in charge of it. So, and the puppet, all the presidents and the prime minister, they install them. So their reach is, and then lastly, to that point, I would say, if anything, Putin is protecting his people, but China ain't protecting those people. They live like rats in a cage. They're not like chilling. They have money, but they're on that social system. They can get they got the social system already. Like that's bad. Like how they live is bad. So where is the utopia, and where can we go even hypothetically?
Well, I'm not saying necessarily that this system is a utopia. I'm saying that because of BRICS, all these nations, the BRICS are creating a new monetary system that's outside the SWIFT system. These African nations, I forgot what nation it was. One of the leaders went to Putin and said, you know, we would like to have a nuclear reactor, and Putin said, I'll build you one.
Right, but isn't those still digital though? Because I don't know. Is that like tit for tat?
Well, the BRICS, from what I understand about it, you're talking about BRICS, right?
Yes, like isn't that Bitcoin versus Litecoin?
From what I understand about it, it's a monetary system where all these there is no one currency that runs anything, like the dollar, US dollar being the world reserve currency. In the BRICS system, there's no one currency that runs everything. It's a co-op, as you can say, like a business co-op. It's like we all are doing business together, meaning if I have something that you need and you have something that I need, then we work out something in terms of, it'll be a mutual exchange. It won't be like, if you don't give me what I want, I'll send my military in and we'll just take it, or we'll just come in as occupiers.
Are you saying, to your understanding, because I have zero knowledge, I've heard of it, but that it's not a globalist type of, not the same, I know you said it's two sides, but it's not a globalist type of thing, from your understanding?
It's the kind of thing that the owners and controllers of Western global capitalism, they don't have their hands directly in it. You see, it's like this. You know, you have something called the Council on Foreign Relations, right? The CFR. That the CFR, I'm going back because I got to go forward. So come up to the modern times. The British after Cecil Rhodes was a philanthropist, as we know, a British philanthropist. And what he did, as you know, the South African diamond mines, he went and got a charter from the British Crown to exploit the South African diamond mines. Okay, right, absolutely. So now, but before he dies, he sets up a series of wheels, because in Cecil Rhodes' mind, the British were the apex of the European people, white people. So he sets up a series of wheels, and one of the wheels he sets up is a Rhodes Scholarship Fund. And originally that was supposed to be for British young men that they could, these little white supremacists, little baby white supremacists, that they could recruit that believed in this supremacy of the British Empire. The sun never set on the British Empire mindset. But then after World War I, these people came over into the United States. And just as the British had the Royal Institute of International Affairs, in America was created the Council on Foreign Relations. We're talking about 1917, 19 in the early 20s. So this conglomerate, this Anglo-American or British-American conglomerate was created. And so what we have experiencing over the years is a continuation, because you see the Rhodes Scholarship out there in those schools on the Eastern institutions. So you saw this merger between the United States and Britain. Now you bring it all forward. In the 70s, when Carter was president and he brought in Brigadier Brzezinski as his national security advisor, you had something called the Trilateral Commission. And the Trilateral Commission is not political like the CFR and the Royal Institute of International Affairs. They're more into global domination. But at the same time, post-World War II, there needed to be an organization set up that dealt with monetary issues. And the monetary issues became the Trilateral, because three, meaning the United States and Canada, Western Europe, and Japan. which is now your G7 nations, basically your G7 nations. So that's when at the end of the, not to get too technical, at the end of the Bretton Woods system that was created, this was a new monetary system. So what we've been experiencing to come in the 21st century is a continuation of that trilateral G7 monetary system. So what's happening now in the world, because the United States then tore up the whole world within the last 20 years, these countries over in Russia and China and these G20 nations are saying we're going to completely break away from that monetary system in the Western world, and we're going to come up with our own monetary system. It's not perfect, it's not a utopia, but it does allow some degree of cooperation in terms of foreign trade. And the owners of global financial capital coming out of that G7, they're butthurt because they say we can't have this. So before we have that, we'll just destroy Western Europe and America altogether. And that's why Blinken wrote in his dissertation in his book, Ally versus Ally, back in the 1980s. I think it was 87 or 88. So what I'm saying, all this stuff has been planned.
I heard you mention that, but just for discussion's sake, this Agenda 2030, I don't know if you heard of it. It's big. This has been planned for way before Brexit, like way before BRICS, Brexit, way before this allied. So like there's these, that conspiracy about whether it's a theory or conspiracy, I believe it's true, where I'm just going to use the number 10, but it could be something that's like 10 people run the world, like, or what, whatever that group is that are actually, we could name some of them, whether it's Gates and Soros and the WEF and So they definitely, they run all the medicals, the media, everything. So the question, I guess, is not to you per se, but this is the BRICS and the Brexits and the separations is kind of new, but these plans to mess up the food, the air, the water, this has been so long in planning that we even theoretically be saved from that by going over to a BRICS. Like, it's just a thought, just this kind of a, is this our savior? Is this a savior?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Compared to the American SWIFT system, that's a good question, sister. Unfortunately, I can't answer that because the Brexit system is still young. It's still a young system, and it's one of these kind of things that we. Some people might not like what I'm about to say. It may get a time where we might have to have a mass exodus out of the United States and go to these places like Russia, where they have more. They haven't. They're not on the collapse like Western civilization is going. It may come to that because right now, I live here in the States, but I also live in the Philippines, and just to add to the conversation, the United States, just like they did in Ukraine, they're trying to do the same thing with Taiwan. They're trying to start a war over in the Far East but this is to stop the Chinese from trading with these countries in Southeast Asia. It's like the same thing all over again, because all of this, again, it's about global, who's going to have the influence in the 21st century. See, when the Chinese build high-speed rail in the Philippines, the Chinese also is getting influence into the country. And the United States said, we cannot allow that. Because the only thing, we can't offer them any high-speed rail. The United States, they said we can give them McDonald's and Burger King and White Castles, and we can give them guns, but we can't give them industry. Because once these countries have industry, the United States no longer has control. And Russia and China have figured it out, more so Russia, that if you give people prosperity, you're less likely to see dependency. You can have a cooperation, but you less likely see dependency. But the United States is, like you said, Africa, Asia, the South American countries, the United States has kept them in a state of dependency with the help of the British. Right. Because this is an Anglo-American operation. It's not just exclusively the United States.
So are you optimistic? Do you have hope?
My dear sister, that's a good question. You know what I see us in an airplane, and we're about to travel 24,000 miles. And the pilot said, we heading for a lot of turbulence. They say rough air, as they say. It's like, it's not hopeless, because I agree with you. There is a creator. There is a spiritual element to this. I'm just saying it's not going to be easy. It's going to be bumpy. It's definitely going to be bumpy, but we can make it. We can make it. I know we can make it. It's going to be bumpy, but we can make it, because it's really a test. It's a test of the human being. And I mentioned earlier about these spiritual wicked forces, this force. And there are some people who are trying to run the world with the rod of Satan. I don't want to get too deep into it, but there's a spiritual element to this, and that we can make it. It's going to be bumpy, though. It's going to be bumpy, but keep tuning in to the Lancescurv show. Keep tuning in and stay in contact with the people who are giving the information, and go research it for yourself. You're an intelligent sister. You say, I can tell you're educated. So do your research, keep studying. And the key thing is to get understanding.
Get understanding.
That's the
Bible
key.
says in all your ways get an understanding. So no, I think we all, thanks for this topic, Lance, because those areas.
Don't be dismayed. Please don't be dismayed.
Yeah.
Don't be dismayed, sister.
Thank
Not
you.
all of us as black men out here got a broken wrist.
But I can't be mad at the ones who do if they're taking erythrosine, since they're babies in their bottles. I know you're not either, but it's like they don't even know what hit them.
But that's part of the attack, because when you go down into the markets down here and they sell fertilizer for those who want to grow their small stuff in their yards, it might be sizable. It's not a farm or anything, but every single last one of them have atrazine in it. Now, if I go down tomorrow and it's not raining, and I promise to do this, I hit a few of those little spots and ask them, I'll hold it up and just put my camera on it and do a little brief thing so you can see that this thing is pushed heavily out here. That's why they want to come at us out here.
And speaking of Kamala, let's not forget that she was just in Africa last year, in Kenya and in Ghana, saying we're giving you sanctions if you don't practice human rights. And they use this word human rights, not for food, not for water, not for housing, not for human rights that these foreigners can't come take your resources. But if you don't allow the risk to be bit of men and women, and you don't allow this alphabet, we're going to take your food supply. We're going to take your money and your water. And they sent Kamala, and Kamala went. And we're talking about electing her? Black people?
Well, see, check this out. Look at the irony in this. The fact that her father is from Jamaica, and 93% of all Black Jamaicans are directly from Ghana through slavery. She's going back to a land of her lineage that she will never admit because she's disowned her father. You see what I mean? So, what a twist. What a twist.
And it's diabolical that they would send her. Of course they send her because they can't say she's racist, because it's the same way they sent Obama to do what they did in Libya. They sent Obama and they did it.
Right.
These are
Right.
the same people that killed Malcolm
Very
X.
true.
I'm sorry. Sorry to use that word. Kissed. These are the same people
No. We know. It's okay.
Well, I don't know if you can say, I don't know what these are the same people that kissed Malcolm X. These are the same people that kissed, and I'm using kiss in the biblical sense where Jesus said Judas came and kissed him right on the cheek. So Judas kissed him to say, this is who I am. They kissed Malcolm X. They kissed Nat Turner.
Right.
Kissed
Mafioso kiss.
Yes, they kissed all of they sent us to do the kissing. And then they did they did the other part. So they deleted. They deleted, but they always sending us. And then we say, okay, back in slavery, what a lot of the overseers look like us. How hard would it have? How hard is? I would, to be an overseer had to be tough, because they said if you don't do it, I'm gonna kill you. Like what? It's so. Imagine the graduate students now, and nobody should be that naive to think, oh, I want to get into politics. Remember when we were little, they say you could be president one day, or you could like,
Yeah,
like
yeah. What
you
a
know, like,
setup.
like, but
God,
what if
Lord.
you believe that? I'm not even talking about from being white or black. Just even if you were a white kid, they could say you could be president one day, not knowing that politics was, once you're in, if you're truly in, you can't get out unless you're deleted. Because if you find out too much, you just got to go into oblivion, or you get deleted or whatever. So it's like the mob. You now you done found out that what we did. So now you can't unsee it. So you stuck, even if you didn't do nothing. And so if you're president or even a senator, you think you gonna go in there and like change a law or something, and they tell you in the room, they say, ha ha ha, you're not doing nothing. You're gonna vote exactly how we say vote. You're gonna do this, you're gonna go to this, you're gonna take this money from this person and that lobbyist, and this is what you go. Kamala, you going to Africa, and you're gonna be on that stage, and you're gonna tell them that we're gonna take all their money and resources and starve their people if they don't allow the alphabet community. It's deep. So we got to stop taking the pesticides. And
I just want to piggyback off of what you just said. As far as the alphabet community, when they're making movies and shows now, that's a requirement now. They have to have like some type of transgender person or a gay person representing that community when they're doing a series. I've noticed that when I'm streaming, like some of the shows that have that element, they do very well. Like if they have like a transgender or a gay person, they'll do very well in that series, and they allow the series to go on and make more seasons. But the shows that are like don't have that, they don't tend to go past 1 or 2 seasons.
But have you noticed that they usually look like us?
Of course.
All the men are black. All the men leading the charge are black. Not every single one of them, but mostly. All like, where are the black men who are out there that represent just a masculine, heterosexual, healthy man? Where?
And as a single black woman, it doesn't do me any justice to be around a bunch of gay men anyway. You know.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It was cute back in the day when it was just 1 out of 1,000 of them, because it was cute. But now it's the reverse, because it truly is, whether they're black men are the most. I am a black woman, but I will say that black men are the most hunted and haunted group on earth.
Of course.
Anybody.
Of course.
Of anybody, because we slightly get in under the female. We can cry and get on welfare or something like that or whatever. That's not good, but I'm saying like the female part, because we're not a threat, not because they like us, but we're not a threat.
Right.
And they raped us for 300 years, totally, to the point that a whole race no longer looks African, because the rape was raped out of us. The Africanness was raped out of us, literally raped out of us. And then we know what happened to the black men, though. So while we, and I'm going to say we, because that trauma goes through the DNA, while we were being raped, they were being castrated and hung and beat and all these things. And still they were taught to be a single stud. And so now here they are. There's reasons the black men are the way they are. The same way we're saying all these LGBT people are the way they are because of circumstances outside themselves. So our brothers, which is what I'm concerned with, I ain't concerned with all them other groups. I'm concerned with our brothers, and I'm concerned with our sisters who still want brothers, but even of the few brothers that are single or available, unlike the brother on our channel who's not single, unlike the brother who's running this channel, Lance, who's not single, we have to compete with non-Black women. And it's a psychological competition because the Black man is collectively so tired that when he comes home, he don't want to see a woman who's tired.
Right.
A tired woman is an angry woman. So when a woman is tired, she's angry and bitter and resentful. And Black women have a right to be angry, resentful, and bitter based on what has happened to us. I mean, not a right, it's natural. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a natural reaction. We have been pulled out of our feminine power as women. So then when we come to our men needing that from them, they're still masculine, not today anymore now with this new agenda, but before when they were, quote, studs, they were studs, but they weren't geared towards being there in the home for us. And the ones who were didn't want what we call on the streets is drama. I don't want no drama when I come home. I don't want nobody looking at me mad. So I'm going out to go wherever I feel good because I need rest in this lifetime. And so then here we are with this dilemma. And then now throw into the mix this whole alphabet agenda. Now it's like the Black women got the short end of the stick when it comes to relationships. We're the worst off for relationships, not Black men in terms of relationships. Black women are the worst off.
And we're also the worst off with marriage because only 1 in 4 Black women get married.
Oh no,
and I'm
that's
glad
what
you
saying.
brought that up.
Relationships, like that covers relationships.
Okay,
like,
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, only 1 in 4 of us get married though. So
or less. You know how I was saying Black men are the most hunted and haunted, and they are more than us because we're women, so we can survive better than them because they'll shelter a woman even if they're raping her, they'll shelter her, but a man they'll just kill him. But when it comes to relationships, we are the most lonely, the most undesirable, the most exploited, the most raped, the most brutalized, the most masculine, not out of nature, but because of the duties that we have to do and all the things we have to take care of. So if a woman has to chop down trees, she's gonna have muscles like a man eventually. So we have this muscle that then a man comes along and we're like, oh, he's like, I want a woman, the ones who are straight. So these other cultures where these women have not been stripped of their femininity and their feminine power and their goddessness, they just get to have our men for the most part. And then the men who say, no, I'm gonna still be with a sister no matter what. Not all of them, I'm speaking collectively. A lot of them say, well, I'll sacrifice to do it because it's a sort of a personal sacrifice that has to be made. More so than social. It's personal, which means in your home, in your bedroom, in your whatever, how you want to run your house. And you can't have 2 alphas in a house. And a lot of us, I'm alpha. A lot of us are alpha out of necessity. So it's not our fault, but it's our problem.
Right. And see, Black women were never, very rarely a Black woman is put into a place where she could be feminine and she could be soft and she could feel like she's protected because Black women are the least protected woman on the planet. And exactly. Yes, and we're very rarely put in a position where we could be soft and we could be all those things that a man desires. I have no problem with being that, but if you're not put in a position where you're that on a regular basis, then what do you turn into?
Yeah, we turn into alpha females because you have a lot of muscle. But interestingly, African women, when I see them, they don't have that disease because they haven't been infiltrated in their own country. So their men haven't been lynched and done all that too. Their men haven't been emasculated.
Right.
So those women, even though they're Black, they don't have the descendants of slave experience that, you know, we coming up like Harriet Tubman. When you see a picture of Harriet Tubman, you don't see, and she's my idol, so I love her, what I'm about to say. But when you see her, you don't see, oh, I just want to take care of her. And
Right. We're not allowed to just be. I think every woman on the planet is allowed to be, but Black American women, we're not allowed to be.
Right.
We were never allowed to just be.
Yeah, so I'll conclude. I don't know if Lance is probably knocked out. It's 5 in the morning.
I'm gonna let everybody have their last word, you know, because I would love for this to go on forever. We're gonna do this again tomorrow and the next day, I promise. But over here is 3:12, and these hammers are gonna start knocking at 6 in the morning. So, you know, it's okay. And I just got to make a run out. Then I'll come on back and crash. But you know, I ain't gonna crash. I'm gonna set up for another show. But yeah, gotta make a run out. But no, I'm cool.
Working together, and like the brother here, I know his wife is not Black, but he's on a Black channel and a Black show and contributing to the Black mission and the Black future.
Yes, beautiful.
There's so many ways to contribute to us and our future. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Here. Yeah.
Well, right now I'm holding Shahrazad Ali's book, Black Man's Guide to Understanding a Black Woman, 1989.
Oh, wow.
so you know, when I look in the world, I see, thank you for that, sister. You know, I see 3 types of people. I see white people, I see non-white people, and I see white supremacists. And the people yeah, you see dead people.
The zombies.
Yeah, if you stay around a white supremacist long enough, and when I look at the members of the government, I tend to see white supremacists. That's that old mindset. And when you all talked about these issues where we have sexuality, and like I said, I remember growing up in the 70s when we had, for the most part, we had 2-parent homes. And I'm sure Lance remember that from the 60s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And going back, sister, when you mentioned, when sister mentioned about Hollywood entertainment, and I remember going to the movies back in the 70s. My cousin used to take us to the movies, my siblings, and I remember sitting there and I was watching. I was too young to see Superfly, but I remember Rudy Ray Moore and his movies, and I remember watching the films.
Yep.
And I said, why they got Black people in movies with guns shooting each other? And why do they have Black women in these movies half naked?
Yep.
I remember saying that. I must admit, Pam Grier was fine, man, when she was in her her prime. I mean, just being a man, being straight up. But I remember seeing her on the screen, and I remember looking, saying, "Why is Hollywood projecting this?" I said, I remember going to see Star Wars, and I said, the white films, they have this old white man named Ben Kenobi. He's taking Luke under his wing, and he's showing him how to be a man, how to be a Jedi. And then he goes from Star Wars, this kind of timid, he's not sure of himself, to you get to Return of the Jedi. He's confident, he knows his purpose. I said the white movies have these kind of, for the most part, these progressions. But the Black movies, the Black films, it's like they're getting the worst of us and putting us in these films. And I saw this stuff happen in the 70s, going into the 80s, and you had the 90s with New Jack City. And it's like in our films, criminals became heroes. And that was part of the whole
exactly.
That was part of the whole programming of Black people in film. And then also I noticed something too. The first time I saw homosexuals in the films, a Black one.
Wow.
That would trip me out. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So as I've gotten older and the kind of little knowledge, I kind of figured little things out. I said, oh, they were just working on us post civil rights, post assassination of Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, the Black Panther Party. They were working on the people, and the brothers started cutting them afros off and started getting their hair perm.
Yep.
So they was,
and now instead of Return to the Jedi, which we never had, we had the Blaxploitation. Now it's Journey to the Brown Eye. That's what they're pushing now on it.
Yeah. They're really pushing that stuff hard today. So I just think that we have to create these, going back to Brother Lance, we have to create these knowledge circles, and we just have to share information and just keep each other abreast on what's going on. You know, and I mean, once you know, you can share it with other people. But that's pretty much, you can do some things, maybe grow a garden or something, but just you can do something. But pretty much letting people know is pretty much about all you can really do.
Right.
Because people will say, hey, man, that's not true, man. What are you talking about? Joe Biden, he loves black people.
Yeah, right.
You know, some people you just can't reach. And you know the ones, you just can't reach them no matter how hard you try. You talk to you blue in the face and you just can't reach them. So great minds think alike. So
look, same time, same place tomorrow. Me and
Yes.
Jones
Yes. And send me those clips, things we can talk about.
6:30.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, so clips?
Oh, send me some clips.
Please.
Anything y'all want to, as long as it doesn't have copywritten music in it, or anything copywritten that, if they have music in the background, that will snag you on this platform. But as long as it's something from Instagram, TikTok, and it doesn't have Michael Jackson music, Beyonce music, any music in it like that, and, pretty much, and I'll explain if I can't play it for whatever little reason, but the TikTok clips are safe, but a lot of people are not on TikTok, so that's cool. But Instagram also works. Twitter, of course, but as long as there's no copywritten material that AI can catch on YouTube and say, hey, we can't play this, because they will mute it out, or they will give you some kind of strike.
I think YouTube
so
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But thank you so much, everybody. Tracy J, you have any last words you want to say?
No, I really don't have any last words. I've said everything I needed to say for now until I could think of something else, but no, not really.
I have something to say to Tracy J. If you're single, I'm single. We could go to Ghana together where Lance is and find
You know what? That's a good idea, but my cautious behind gonna think everybody trying to scam me and want a green card to come to the US. So that's gonna be kind of hard for me.
No, we have to say we will be with you if you get us a green card here.
See,
Welcome to the island of love.
My
sister, you returned.
Why y'all bullshitting with the topic of today is America, the Titanic going down. We leaping off the Titanic going to Ghana. We gonna be the ones, Tracy, talking about, can I get a green card, brother? We gonna be the ones.
You know what? They're gonna be glad to give it to us too. They're gonna be really, as long as they as long as we got something getting like some money or something, they're gonna be glad to give it to us. Yes.
My dear sister, here's my mother and my father. Welcome to the island of love. Talking about coming to America, coming to Ghana. Man, they'll never make another film like that,
sisters,
man.
I'll protect you.
We going on the
I'll protect you.
home. Yes.
We got a lot of rooms here. When everything is done, there's a lot of rooms here and a big wall around everything, and they ain't gonna mess with you because you're with me. Trust me.
I'm putting the new saying on the just fresh off the boat. I'm gonna be right on off that boat in Ghana, right there at that slave port in reverse.
I'm gonna have to stay single for a while in Ghana. They can't just be coming up to me talking about something,
Well, look, more for me then. More for me.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Let me stop.
Wow.
All right, Lance. You and Sister Scurv have a good night.
Yes,
have a good night, everybody.
You too.
All right.
You all. Thank you all for your
really
contributions.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good night. We'll be back tomorrow. Send me those clips. Lance at Lancescurv.com or any social media platform. Anything you want to talk about, we're going to do it. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have it. It's going to be informative. I'll supply a few jokes, and we're going to have a good time. So I thank you all for being here and sharing. I learned a lot tonight from all of you, and I'm very much inspired. And I'm stuttering because I'm kind of tired. I'm going to hit that sack. But I enjoyed myself. And I might have all kind of dreams tonight, but
like I said, I hope I don't dream about Joe Biden with an AI face talking at me in my sleep. You know what I mean? At least there's no bats on my face.
Maybe,
All right, so
maybe you'll dream about Kamala Harris serving you some sweet potato pie or something.
oh
Lance,
my
would you like
God,
another slice?
you militant brother, I got some poison in there for you because you talk all about me and
militant brother.
expose me. Oh yeah, that's another one. Listen, I'd fall asleep in front of Fleece before I would Kamala because she'll stab me. At least he'll try to, you know what I mean? I don't trust none of them. But anyway.
Joe Biden gonna
say this
tell
before
him.
you.
No, I was just
Let me
gonna
just
say
say
Joe
this.
Biden gonna say if you don't vote for him, you ain't black. So that's what he gonna tell you.
If I ain't black after all these years, go ahead, Bose.
Would you like some Indian curry?
Did you all see that video of Kamala looking like she was intoxicated? She was like pointing, saying, "I think this is the direction of the Capitol," and I'm like, "Is this woman? Is she okay?" And like she was high on something. I don't know if
Yeah,
it was
she was
weed,
high on
alcohol.
something, and she was climbing the ladder because if you looked at her slacks, the knees were dirty.
I don't know. Brother Lance, would you like some chapati? Would you like some chapati?
Oh, Bose caught that one.
Well, you,
Goodbye.
all right, then, sister. Take care. You take care now. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow night, everybody. All right, take care. Much love,
All right,
everybody.
you too, brother.
Bye bye.
So, hello, this is Martha. Actually, today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's a very kind man, seriously. I do talk with him on phone, on WhatsApp, but I've never got to meet him. But today, he's just extraordinary. He's very, anything you want to know about life, anything you want to know about just human, anything you want to know about life, please. YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media channels, you got to find him there. He's very inspiring. He's very positive. If you want anything positive about life, please subscribe to Lancescurv. And then every day you got to see different videos, different talks, different topics about life. See you.